Here, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean Peter Bluff. Got hey, had my phone on. Anyway, we are back again with another reaction stream, but it's not a normal reaction stream. We are doing this Understanding Haki Revisited stream featuring ELiDZ, where we both react to some of his older theories together, and we try to pretty much, I guess, update it. We're work or he's working on updating his stream, and I'm sitting here helping him while we react to it. But let's get ELiDZ in the stream. Shout out to ELiDZ.
Hey everybody, it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Yeah, shout out to ELiDZ. Before we get into it though, make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, if you're looking for a One Piece community, we have the One Piece Discord and the One Piece Facebook group. So yeah, plenty of options for you to choose from. I also add the link to ELiDZ's YouTube channel. I was about to say Facebook channel. ELiDZ's YouTube channel. So y'all make sure y'all go check his channel up. He creates a lot of great in-depth theories that bring kind of a real world, like scientific and some spiritual concepts into One Piece, right? And we got Adam Jinrakai in the chat. He says, finally catching one live. Can't wait. Hey, man, Adam, I was just talking about you, man. I was just talking to ELiDZ about you. But I don't think you heard me when I was talking about you. I think that might have been when we was having that mic trouble. So, yeah, I was trying to tell you about this kid, Adam, who was part of the stream on Sunday, right?
The trivia.
Yeah. And then we got Cube saying ELiDZ. They said, "Sup, guys? Hey, man. Adam said I didn't hope it wasn't too bad. Nah, it was nothing bad. It was positive. I was telling him about some of the ideas that you're somebody with a lot of ideas, and I think, and I also told you, ELiDZ, that he follows you as well. I think he subscribed to your channel. So yeah, you might have seen me.
I'm on the Discord, so if you ever want any feedback, you can ask Q, or the guys over there. Whenever they get to me with their ideas, I might not get back right away, but I'm willing to talk about anybody's ideas and offer you whatever feedback, or maybe I'll show you evidence in the manga that could strengthen your theory, whatever it is. Just hit me up on Discord.
Yeah, he says, Adam says he's been watching your channel. Really, really great stuff. I love bridging the concepts that you are searching through.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
And Q said, I love how Adam's OP mind work. Yeah, man. But I just know Adam is like bursting. He's like bursting with ideas, just from talking to him, he's bursting ideas. He really might benefit from starting his own YouTube as well, because he definitely has the mind for it, for coming up with theories or just connecting things. But anyway, let's talk about the video, right? Last time we reacted to your Understanding Haki Part 2, I think it was.
Yep.
Where we kind of went in depth about armament haki for the most part, and
so it was the beginning of me introducing the chakra theory. So the first one that we didn't watch was about chi.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't really need to watch that too much, because I kind of, each part, I always reintroduce chi as a concept, because you have to know it to understand the chakra theory. And it's a vibrating energy. And then you have chakra, which is a frequency.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's vibrating at a certain speed, and the changes of the speed determines the frequency. So then I said there's 7 frequencies correlating with the 7 chakras. The
Mm-hmm.
first 3 frequencies are root, sacral, and solar, which are red, yellow, or red, orange, and yellow. And those would be armored Haki.
What's the green chakra? Like what chakra is green?
So green would be the next one up. That's the heart chakra.
You know why
The
I
heart
asked
chakra
that?
is about empathy.
You know why I asked that? I was watching something earlier today, and it had nothing. I don't think it had anything to do with One Piece, or maybe it was like a clip. Maybe it was like a piece of somebody's video, and they was talking about how how I think the heart chakra was green or whatever. It was just like random, and I was like, man, they must have been watching ELiDZ video. But go ahead though about the green.
But yeah, we wrapped up Armin Haki in that one. So the reason we're watching today's video, why Alpu's Dofu's Haki may be, why Dofu's ability may be Haki, instead of Understanding Haki Part 3, are for 2 reasons. First of all, Understanding Haki Part 3 is very long, and we just did a whole long thing last week. So,
Mm-hmm.
we might as well take a break, and also we're going to need 2 consecutive streams, and I'm not going to be available as much next week, although I still
Yeah,
want to do a stream.
yeah.
So, I figured we'll set that for another time. This video, however, is relevant to my Understanding Haki because the culmination of all the things I talk about Understanding Haki is that it creates devil fruit powers. And in this video, I kind of give you a frame of reference of what it looks like to see how Haki is really incorporated in devil fruits.
Yeah.
It's so much easier with Poo's devil fruit because it's a lot more blatant than other devil fruits where you really have to get into Understanding Haki to understand how those abilities would be Haki related in the first place. But yeah, this isn't going to be a very long video. It's really actually only 7 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be a part I'll kind of like want to skip into the secret ending, but it'll be really brief.
Yeah, we could
We
watch
will
the
have a
whole.
lot of time to discuss.
Yeah, we could watch the whole video, right? Because this, again, it's a short video, right? Like 7 minutes,
Yeah.
so we could watch the whole 13 minutes. It don't
Well, it
matter.
gets to a point where a lot of times I'll, because I have so many related topics, I'll say at the end, "Oh, you should check out this video because it, and actually the video is one we already reacted, which was the Rokushiki is Haki.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
guess we could watch up to that point. It's not gonna really, that'll be redundant. But
yeah.
yeah, so that'll be about 10 minutes. But then I would like to like talk more about the whole Understanding Haki and where it's going. And I got a topic that could potentially, go somewhere, and we could follow up next week's stream.
Most
Maybe we could even
definitely,
include the people in the chat.
most definitely. Let me read these chats real quick.
Yeah.
Uh, Angel's Room said, "Yo, shout out to Angel's Room." And he said, "What?" Or Cube asked, "What is blue chakra?" Since in the latest cover, Zoro has green flames and Sanji has blue flames.
So it's tricky when it comes to correlating the color of auras to the chakras. This color matters to chakra, but
Mm-hmm.
only to a certain extent. Like, if, let's say, you want to eat foods that strengthen the solar plexus, which is yellow, it doesn't mean you only eat foods that are yellow.
Yeah,
Uh, you if you want to, stones have vibrations, and if you want a stone that's with your chakra, it doesn't mean you're only going to get yellow stones.
yeah,
The colors matter to a point. So when it comes to the color of auras and the relevance to chakra, it doesn't exactly work in that same way. um, as for like why do these characters have certain types of colors in their aura, it could have to do just more from a design aspect, or maybe it's a reflection of their personality and not
mm-hmm.
as much their chakra. Especially when the whole concept of chakra is that there's like realms of existence. And if you're seeing a color on the physical realm, that's really just the earthly realm. If there's a color on an astral realm that you can't even comprehend, then it doesn't matter anyway. You wouldn't be able to see that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't look too much into it, but to answer the actual question of the blue chakra, that would be the throat chakra, which is actually what
Conquerors,
I
right?
believe to be Conqueror's Haki, which I'll talk briefly in
See,
this.
I'm remembering, man. I remember the throat because it's the vocal, right? It's the vocal,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of why you say what we talk about Apu, right? Because the throat makes
Yep.
sound. It makes sound and
There's
sound.
sound, voice, roar.
Yeah,
Voice
yeah.
really is the most relevant. The whole voice, the voice of all things, the fact that Haki is referred to as voice. I believe that Conqueror's Haki is the most spirit
Mm-hmm.
like of all the Hakis. In fact, I believe Conqueror's Haki is like the rawest form of
Hockey.
Conqueror's Haki. It's
Oh,
like that is what it truly is in its essence. And then all the other frequencies are transformed from that state.
yeah. Uh, all right, let me. Cube says it will be 7 minutes of pleasure and knowledge. And then Adam says, I have been wondering if the colors are species like the different realms and the combinations. It's about the vocal. It's about the vocals. LOL. Well, I think the soul part. Did you catch that, or you need me read it again for you?
Oh, I actually got the I got the chat up. I gave it a like too. um, yeah, it's all about the. It's yeah, it works both ways. It's about the vocals in terms of soul, but the soul is about the vocals. It works both ways because the soul really encapsulates so much. There's soul music, there's soul food, there's soul this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, dancing is soulful, and in the voice, that starts to get in your voice or your thoughts and consciousness, and that's a whole other topic for understanding hockey part 3. But
Yeah,
yeah, Adam's right.
yeah. He also says, have you ever considered the final forms of hockey being survival instincts, like predator or predatory versus prey, and the mindsets between each, like the threat and the threatened?
I think there's something to that in terms of the conquered and the conquerors, and the fact that there's king of kings, and then there's kings of kings of kings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Emu, in a more literal sense, really encapsulates that the most because he's the king of the celestial dragons who rule over the rest of the world. So he's sort of like a king stacked on top of other kings.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, I think, for example, a lot of people who have Conquerors Haki also happen to be captains. And you don't find a lot of people that aren't captains that have Conquerors Haki. And Haki correlates a lot with personality, I also
Mm-hmm.
believe. Zoro's not a captain, but he also wants to be the strongest swordsman in the world. So there's always the personality reflecting in the Haki. And I think that there's something to devil fruits reflecting on their personality. And that sort of ties another thing that tied together devil fruits and Haki.
Yeah. I got a question. I got my own question, so I'm gonna ask you like two questions because one's gonna be my question, and then I also wanna, or not. I got a question and a statement. So the statement is pretty much from Adam. He says, "Captain, the head of the ship, and its right hand." So I guess he was kind of pointing out where you talking about captains and stuff. And I wanted to ask you, right? Because we had this discussion on Sunday, so I kind of want to get your opinion. I think we already talked about it before. I think we might have, so I think I might know your view on it. But I'm asked for the stream since we kind of debated about it on Sunday, right? Do you believe that Usopp will have conquerors? Why or why not?
Hmm. Well, I kind of give a answer to that in my understanding hockey. Um,
Okay, the next week
so
one.
yeah, the one after that,
All right, you
the
don't have to.
understanding hockey part 3.
You don't have
So
to give an in depth one. You could just give like a small answer, short answer, and then we could dive into it Whatever you want to do though. Whichever one you want
So
to do.
Usopp using conquers Haki in the way that Luffy or Zoro does, where it conquers a person's will and knocks them out.
Yeah.
Does he have conquers Haki in that way? No. Right? So that's the basic, surface level understanding of conquers Haki. The people who are said to be the chosen few.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also go in understanding Haki, I say, if conquers Haki is the manifestation of the soul, then what makes Conqueror's Haki special is the ability to perform it, not having it, because
Yeah.
everybody has a soul.
Yeah.
So it kind of deals with the whole throat chakra and crown chakra thing. Throat chakra is about external. It's literally your voice. You're projecting it. But then you have your mental thoughts, which are inside.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think. We know that observation and armament have higher levels of their Haki.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the advanced form of Conqueror's Haki is taking, instead of how we usually see it, which is the voice, it's externally being used. It has to do with the internal soul and being able to use the internal soul for whatever it is used for. And I think a person who gives a clue as to what the advanced form Conqueror's Haki is Big Mom and the way she uses her devil fruit powers. And that is by being able to put her soul into other objects. Her devil also lets her manipulate other people's souls into other objects. But the fact of putting soul into objects, I believe, is along the lines of what advanced conquerors Haki is. And we've seen this with, I believe, cursed souls are the result of advanced conquerors, where people are able to put their essence, their soul, into their sword.
Mm.
And I believe the Klabauterman,
Yeah.
the soul that's in a ship,
Yeah.
is also an example of that advanced form of Conqueror's Haki. And ironically enough, advanced Conqueror's Haki isn't even one that's really meant for battle. It's truly meant for someone's passion, their soul. And
Yeah.
like I said, there's soul music and there's soul food. Maybe people can put their soul into food. We know that there's this supernatural food that exists that Sanji was able to learn from the Okama people.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to that. And Conqueror's Haki in a way has always been something that's not always battle oriented, but more
Mm-hmm.
just like utilizing the person's soul.
Yeah, like cause when I think of what you say about the Conqueror's Haki being part of the crown chakra and I guess the throat chakra, or them two chakras being what makes Conqueror's Haki, I
Hmm.
kind of look at it like when we look at Usopp, what does he do a lot? He vocalizes things, like there's this idea that he says he lies, but then it
Hmm.
comes to truth, right? It comes to truth.
Yeah.
So like he's very like I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm looking at throat chakra as a literal in the literal sense, it being like when someone who may talk a lot, or like Usopp or Luffy, using I guess their throat to impose their wills, like Usopp, for example, him using his throat pause because that kind of that sound a little but him using that his esophagus to impose his will on things, you know I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going by the throat
Yeah.
logic, the throat
I see
chakra
where you're going.
logic, and the fact that Usopp is known to be a liar and
Hmm.
he talks a lot. He lies in order to get what he want in life, right?
Yeah. So him like being a liar and a manipulator, I definitely think does play some role. Although in the terms of the throat chakra, it's
Oh,
not
that name just
necessarily referring to the actual throat. It's more of like a spiritual throat or like a spiritual body.
yeah,
One of the analogies, or I guess one of the ways I phrase Conqueror's Haki is it's almost like a spiritual roar. It's as if when you see Luffy do conquers Haki with a straight face, it's
Yeah,
almost as if there was like a ghost form of him just yelling out.
yeah. Let me read chat. Freaking Angel's room had me laughing.
Yeah.
Read his comment, but let me see. Angel's room said, "Adam, when will you be officially posting on your channel?" Y'all talking. I'm gonna let. Okay, I'll make sure. And then we got Stan in the building. Shout out to Stan. He says so far it's more battle oriented. I guess he's talking about conquerors. And uh Adam says, I don't want to derail the stream, but if Haki is all so, how can it flow through inanimate, unalive objects? I
That's a
agree.
good question.
I agree that Conquerors is a threat. I'll let you. Let me. I'm gonna knock out these comments real quick, and then you could answer that question. And he says, I agree that Conquerors is threat, but I've been wondering maybe like the gravity to repel like a lodestar.
Mm-hmm.
And then Angel's Room said, Angel's Room said, Usopp got throat game. Man, I've been laughing about that in my head this whole time. Adam said, throat game for real, but the second half of voice is tongue and the muscle between animals' tongues. Not second half like a third. I guess that's what. So, yeah, that's all the chats.
Yeah. So he makes a good point of like, if Haki's also, how can it flow through inanimate and unalive objects?
Can I
I
say
think
something before you go in?
it has,
Can I say something?
yeah, yeah.
I'll let you finish, but I just kind of want to guess before you say it, just to see if I could guess where you're going. But I think the thing about it, right? The thing about like
Mm-hmm.
the voice, like, because he talks about what he has. I don't want to derail the stream, but if Haki is also, how can it flow through inanimate, unalive objects? Now, if you remember, there is the thing called the voice of all things or the breath of all things, right? That means all things have a voice and a breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm gonna let ELiDZ get into it. I just kind of want to try to jump in before he do. But
Yeah.
that kind of means to a degree when they say voice or breath, in a sense, it's kind of like a soul to a degree, or a will, I guess. I might be a little off, so I'm gonna let ELiDZ take over. Yeah.
So when it comes to this whole concept of spirituality, um, I actually want to read this because it'll kind of knock out. If I acknowledge this comment, it was sort of, I could talk to it at the same time as answering the other thing. It says, I still can't understand what you guys are trying to explain here. I think you're looking too much into things. And he says, I don't think Oda is looking so much into like you guys are. The thing is with Oda is that he's writing a weekly shonen, so he could only put so much into the story. He also can't make it too convoluted at first. But at the same time, he's been writing this story over decades. So if he could, put in breadcrumbs, if he could put something a little bit here, a little bit there, over time, it's going to become something that's a complete package that if he introduces these concepts, it'll have made sense. It'll have been established, as opposed if he revealed it 5 years ago, it would just seem out of nowhere and wouldn't make much sense. Now, people might eat it up, but I think his as an author, he would like his audience to understand it better. Um, so he introduced this concept of breath all the way back in Alabasta. Yet somehow he's never really brought it back up. So it's either he forgot about it or he's been talking about it but in different ways. And we know that in Wano, Hyogoro told Luffy about Rio, and when he described Rio, it was the same way that Koshiro told Zoro about this way of the swordsman that we saw was the breath of all things. So it shows that he didn't forget about this. In fact, it's been Haki all along. Now, breath means chi. So if a lot of this isn't making sense, that's because it's hard to understand. But to be fair, this stream isn't really to truly get it across, it's to just talk about it. You kind of have to have some kind of background knowledge if you're going to want to understand the stream.
Yeah,
If you want to
goddamn
understand it, you would have to.
Stan, being the party
Mm-hmm.
pooper out here. We just having fun, man. We just having
No,
fun, man. I'll just mess
it's
with him.
understandable because it is confusing if you don't see from the beginning. That's why the very first part is just talking about chi. You know, it's a 10-minute video where I just talk about chi because that's the most important thing you got to get across is chi. We know chi is relevant to One Piece because it's literally in the word haki. Haki, Japanese word is ki, the Chinese word is chi. They're the same thing. I just use chi. The reason I use chi is really more out of respect of the original concept.
Mm-hmm.
I could just only use ki and make it less complicated. But also, I think if I use chi, it helps differentiate it from haki. People don't think I'm talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in this concept of spirituality, he also introduced the colors of haki. Notice how, if you read the Viz translation, they say the color of arms, the color of observation. Even though, as fans, we usually just say observation haki armor. We don't say the colors of Supreme King and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
the truth is, the Boku Shoku or Kenbu Shoku, that word Shoku does mean color. So we truly are supposed to say color, but it just seems pointless to say color because we don't know why color is even there.
Yeah.
So my theory is to understand, why would Oda go out of his way to put that word color into Haki in the first place? Because of the chakras and the frequencies and how that matters.
Yeah.
So
And those
then to
have real
finally
world.
answer,
Those are real world concepts, not like just One
yeah,
Piece
that's
concepts.
the inspiration.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Rokushiki and how it was inspired by Iron Body Kung Fu, which then also uses chi and all that. But
For a short summary, though, Stan, I'll let you finish though, Eliz. But just for a short summary, it's applying real world concepts to One Piece concepts, which are very much based on real world. Even if Oda doesn't like really go that much in depth about it, they still have some real world bases, like origin to it, you know. But go ahead.
so to answer Adam when he said, trying to read it again. If Haki is all about soul, how can it flow through inanimate and unalive objects? Which is a great question. First thing I want to say is that we know through Zoro that these inanimate objects or these unalive objects have a breath. He could feel the breathing of a tree, and you can go, oh, well, tree's a plant. But he even felt the breathing of rocks, like literal rocks. So that's the first thing to consider. The second thing is, there's this concept called source in spirituality. And basically, source is like everything. Source is the universe. Source is the highest form of being. Um, it's the heaven frequency. Now, this exists in One Piece, and it's a term you guys are all familiar with. It's just two words: all things. That's what source is. Source is supposed to be all things. So there's the earthly realm where everything is separate. We're all separate beings. I'm separate from the shirt I'm wearing. I'm separate from everything. Where there's this idea of separation. And then the source is the opposite of that, where everybody's connected. We're all connected. We're all in this together. Even time itself, everything, the past, the future, everything is together, all in one thing.
Yeah.
So it's like they're two opposites of the end extreme, where one, everything is separate, and one, everything is together. So in this climb from the bottom of the spectrum to the top of the spectrum, each frequency is just getting closer and closer to source. So if you're going higher in a frequency, it means that you're more connected to what you thought was once separate from yourself.
Yeah.
So if you notice, the bottom frequency is armament, like Rokushiki, and that very physical based haki. But the next one up, Ryo, all of a sudden you have a swordsman connecting to their sword. A sword is an inanimate object,
external.
but Zoro can connect to his sword, and his sword can understand his will. It's like him and his sword has now become one, because that is getting to source. That is becoming one with all things. So that's why, even though it is soul, it would be able to connect with these inanimate objects.
All right. Let me do these. Are you ready to get into the video? I'm gonna look into or finish these chats, catch up on the chat, and then if you're ready to get into the video, we can do that. Hold on, where did I leave off at? I don't don't think Oda is generous exactly. All right, so Adam says, I think it's exactly like electricity, but like our nervous system, like the nervous system that connects all. Yeah, I think I think chi has been kind of portrayed in a similar sense, kind of like in Avatar, where they could where the one girl could cut off, she hit certain points and you can't even bend it anymore because it's like she's cutting the flow of it,
Shout out to Best Generation, who, he put out a theory about how he thinks devil fruits are related to electromagnetism, which he's right on point.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of my theory, is going to show there is a connection between electromagnetism and chi. Electromagnetism really is almost like a scientific version of chi.
Yeah.
Which is very, I'm going to get into that, like how Vegapunk maybe discovered devil fruit in Haki through science.
Adam says, I think Oda is trying to tackle the concepts that everyone minds have or always have. And then he says, I love the connections to Chi Ki from DBZ. I just wonder how much the species part played a factor in that, like Super Saiyan, right? So I guess he's saying like how much species affect your chi in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
I think that's
I touch on that topic.
Stan says, I think the breath of all things is just Rio because Hyogoro says that if a swordsman wants to cut something, he can cut it. But if he doesn't, he won't. That is just what Rio is, but for swordsman. It's just some form of observation haki. I'm kind of confused. You just said it was... I feel like you said it was... you said it was Rio. You said, and that it was just... Is it Rio or observation haki? Which one you go with, Stan? And then he says, like the voice of all things is possibly some very advanced form of observation haki, but we still don't know why only chosen people have it and why can't anyone else have it. And then Adam says, I want to say I think Haki can go into inanimate, non-living things too. I think it's like how all substances have electrons, neutrons, and cells. And things... Oh, that's a good idea. Or that's a good point. My thing is that Haki seems to be completely higher thought connected. The base instincts, both ways of the spectrum. And then he says, I feel like I'm on the same page you guys with the Haki intentions. I think the human side is completely figured out by ELiDZ. Just wonder if there is a better way to account for all the elements in animals. As I kind of want to go back what Stan says. Yeah, I think me and ELiDZ talked about that before. I personally say I believe that the voice of all things is pretty much a combination of Conqueror's Haki and observation Haki or whatnot. And that I think I said the breath of all things might be Conquerors and armament. I don't remember because we had a discussion before, but I can't remember what we came up with. So, you got anything to say before we get into this video?
Yeah, I should say one thing is, as confusing as this is, I've been working tirelessly to make a remade mastered version of this Understanding Haki. It's a big part of why we're even doing this, to make things even more clearly. And I like the way Adam's thinking, trying to bring in this scientific understanding to Haki, because I think that is very, very important. It's never been stated that Dr. Vegapunk has looked into Haki, but I guarantee you he has. I truly believe he's looked into Haki, and that's why he understands devil fruits. And I think that's a good way to go about it. You don't just have to look at it from the spiritual perspective. It's honestly easier to look at it from the spiritual perspective because you can clearly see Oda based it off that. And looking at it from a scientific perspective is something I've been doing more and more as it going on, and it's going to really show in Understanding Haki Part 4. But yeah.
Stan says, yeah, but we still don't know why only certain people only have it. I'm not arguing that point, Stan. I don't know why you keep saying that. I don't think anybody's arguing against that point. We have our speculation on why people can have it, but we know why we know that. Like I don't Cause I keep seeing you saying that, and I'm like, why you keep bringing up that we don't know why certain people have it, but you can somewhat speculate based off of the people who do have it versus the people who don't have it. Why? What makes them different compared to the people who don't have it? So yes, you're right. We don't know why certain people have it, but it can still lead us to speculation to why certain people have it and certain people don't have it. So yeah, but I don't know why you keep saying it. I'm not like, I didn't even argue that. But let's get you ready for this video? Ready to start this video? I'll just finish this chat. But I can't keep responding to all y'all chat. I'll read it, but I'm probably not gonna respond to it.
Another chance.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm on the same, just like the 3 different types of devil fruits.
Supreme Chi, also known as.
Hold on. Yep. Adam says, so the voice is only not a sound when a human or animal knows its voice. Mostly the people of the D clan. That's Stan talking about Congress Haki. But yeah, let me change scenes so I could get the video on the screen, and then I'm ready. All right, let's go.
All right. Fighting music, use Conquerors.
And it's not just people with a D clan that got Conquerors. You know, like I get what you said. Most people with a D clan, but I don't think being in the D clan automatically qualifies you as a Haki, Conquerors Haki wielder.
Yeah. Just a lot.
They might just be more like, they might be more what's it called, like when you're like, it might be easier for them, or they might just have they might tend to have the disposition of a Conquerors Haki person. Like I don't know, but yeah, let's go.
All right. If you watch my video explaining Supreme Chi, also known as Haki, then you'd know that Chi is an energy centered all around the fact that it is in constant vibrating motion. Take this little theory as a preview to the concepts in the next 2 videos, Understanding Haki Part 3 and 4. In the latest chapters, Apu is seen doing invisible damage to Luffy and Zoro. This right off the bat is similar to Haki, both Advanced Armament and Conquerors Haki. It could be one or the other, but I just want to point out, like, the fact that Luffy gets hurt from a punch and he's rubber was not something that was highlighted.
What you mean during Apu?
Yeah. I mean, even if Hapu's can make like an invisible punch, whether the punch is visible or not, Luffy's rubber, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But clearly it was something that got to him.
Yeah, that sound. Yeah, cause like you said, sound and light both work in frequencies similar to Haki, right? You know, like, or how we expect Haki to work, right? You know, because every time we talk about Haki, we're always talking about frequencies and stuff like that. You know, like why Sanji is able to pretty much perceive a woman in trouble, you know, because he's more in tuned. His frequency is more in tuned with women because he loves women. Zoro with swords, right? Like he's more in tune with swords, so he can feel the will of a sword. Like I don't know, like what if Sanji picked up Enma? Would Enma, would he feel Enma? Or you know what I'm saying? Like how would that work? Would Enma try to drain his chakra? Because they're not, like, Sanji's not in tune with swords and blades and stuff. So I don't know.
It could be one or the other, but I actually think it's both. The sound waves do physical and internal damage, which is right on the money when talking about advanced armament. I believe a good indicator that Apu is using Haki in his Devil Fruit ability is back when he attacked Kizaru. Notice how he's actually able to do physical damage to him. I can already see it now, people telling me that it was just the attack landing. That isn't enough to say it's Haki. Well, here's the thing. Unlike someone like Crocodile, who's made of sand, or Kuzan's ice body, Kizaru is made of light. Light can't be touched.
It's pretty
Yeah,
self-explanatory
facts.
why Apu's powers had to be Haki to affect Kizaru the way that it did. Should you need further explanation, stick around after I conclude this theory, but for right now I'm just gonna move on. We've gone over why his powers are like armament, so let's start talking about the other Haki abilities. Conqueror's Haki has been shown to do physical damage as well, despite being purely spiritual, aka non-physical. But where Armament and Conquerors differ is in the fact that Advanced Armament is a physical manifestation of spiritual aura. The fact that it's a physical manifestation means that it isn't purely spiritual. So even though it is invisible, it does have a physical presence. Conqueror's Haki on the other hand is just a force. It is intangible.
I just want to read a comment in the chat because I guess it's opposing what you said. He said, Stan says, but Kizaru wasn't affected though.
He was definitely affected. If he wasn't affected, he wouldn't have been,
yeah. No, I
taken
agree.
aback.
I agree.
It doesn't make sense. For if he wasn't affected, he would literally just stay still and not move. He got blown up. If he got blown up, that means he's affected. Now, if you argued, oh, he wasn't damaged, that's something different.
Yeah. I agree.
He's
that's
not
what
damaged. That just means he's super tough and super strong.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about whether or not he actually, if it hurt him or not. It's the fact that, let's say,
did something. It did something.
Yeah. If a fodder character tried to push Kizaru, nothing's gonna happen because he's made of light. But if a fodder character was able to move Kizaru, then it would be significant because it's like, even if the fodder character did no damage, he was able to touch Kizaru, who's a man made of light. Yeah. That's the point. It has nothing to do with how strong Apuga's attack was. It has everything to do with the fact that he was able to affect a man made of literal light.
Yeah. And we've seen, again, when Kizaru got shot, it directly through him. It had absolute zero impact. When Usopp and who was it? I think it was Chopper or Usopp and Brook. Usopp and Brook. When they was trying to save Zoro and trying to, Brook was stabbing him and Usopp was, shooting his slingshot. Nothing. It was just going through. But Apu managed to actually have a successful attack that connected with Kizaru. And I agree with that because I've said that a lot of time about Apu. I know a lot of people hate Apu, but I'm like, because I think Apu gets slept on, right? I'm not saying he's one of the strongest supernova, but I think a lot of people, he gets slept on. He has.
He did knock out Luffy temporarily.
Exactly.
That's a feat. Even he didn't beat him, but he did do something.
And I always say he was the only person, the only supernova that was actually able to connect against Kizaru. Now he didn't hurt him, of course. Kizaru is my favorite admiral, so I'm not going to have Kizaru. I'm not going to admit to an L for Kizaru. So, but the fact that Apu did something to him. So, it didn't hurt him, but he still did something, which was more than any other supernova present there, or anybody present except Rayleigh maybe did anything to Kizaru. But yeah, let me look at this chat real quick because this chat booming. I might not be able to answer all you guys' chats, man. Angel said that could just be seen as a durability feat. Stan, I don't think it's a durability feat. I just think it's the fact that it couldn't hurt him, but it was able to.
I see what he's saying. He's saying it's a durability feat because it affected him, but he's just so durable that it didn't do damage. Okay. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah. I just didn't look at it as durability. I guess he's right. Adam says, I think it's because all the stuff works differently on a certain species, bugs. I kind of missed a couple stuff he said before then. Then Stan said, I see it the same as when Robin clutched Aokiji. Well, at least Permisia fruit's probably not Haki, but I don't know. Well, again, Aokiji has a different... You can physically touch Aokiji because ice is very touchable. Like he said, ice and sand. Light, on the other hand, is like it's intangible. It's naturally intangible, right? Where ice, like when you hit Aokiji, he literally has to break his body or just allow his body to shatter to become intangible. You know, where Kizaru, you could touch him all you want, and you know if he chooses to be light at that point, you can't do nothing to him. You know. So I think Aokiji's not the best of example. Adam says, well, at least Primicia fruits probably not Haki, but I don't know. Stan says he just had his body sliced and then he reconnected it. But that's still doing something. That's what we're saying. It's still affecting his body. In order for him to be sliced, the slice have to be effective. You know?
Yep.
Angel said, yeah, but when people attack Kizaru and Sabaody, there's always their attack would just through him. You can't physically touch him. And then Stan says, plus we still don't understand why certain Del fruits are active all the time and why some have to be activated in order to not be touched. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Kizaru, like, again, maybe he's using observation Haki and he's going intangible. And we just, you know, he's just not like saying that he's using it. Or, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't need to use it. Or he doesn't need to show that he's using it by dodging or anything. And then Stan says, yes, but Apu is sound and sound can affect light waves. But that doesn't mean he uses Haki. Same for Jinbei. When he could damage Luffy even though he is rubber because he is still was water in him. Again, but we've talked about this, Stan. Everything when it comes to water, when it comes to sound, we talked about how it's Haki related base. And I think we probably will. Angel's Room said Logia's devil fruits are always active when it comes to attacks. I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. I think the way Stan is looking at how sound can affect light is being way oversimplified. Like, if I yell at my light bulb, it's not gonna start dimming it out.
No,
if someone makes a really loud noise near Kizaru, I don't think that's enough to just make him like get hit or anything. It's not that simple. It's like
it's affecting it on the frequencies.
That was way oversimplified to think that just sound by itself is enough to affect light.
Yeah.
Or hurt Kizaru.
Like, Kizaru! Ow! Nah, like, and that's the point though. Like we've talked about how like Haki is related to sound. Like, I've taken martial arts. I've taken Taekwondo, right? And we talk about ki and chi and all that at a much not at a very deep level, but more just for the purpose of martial arts. And one thing we do when we do martial arts is you usually got to make like a sound like a or you know, like kind of like a yell, right? And when you do that, you know, because it's, you know, it's related to chi in a way. You know, that's why we're not just yelling for no reason. It also kind of makes your punches more explosive and more force to a degree. A little tough to talk about, but
I just want to real quick to Adam. He mentioned a comment earlier. He said, you know, sound isn't just like what we say. It could be more, or like the voice isn't just what we say. And he's 100% on point. That's one of the things I talk about in Understanding Haki, that Conqueror's Haki isn't like a literal noise. It's really the whole concept of voice is something that's supposed to be beyond the physical or earthly understanding. It's more just, it can be seen as a sound. It can be seen as just a frequency to be picked up. It can even just seen as a mystical message. The highest chakra is the crown chakra, and all the chakras before it have elements you understand, like Avatar, fire, earth, water, air, all that stuff. The highest frequency is literally just thought. Thought is the highest element.
Yeah. No, you're right. Adam says, but meaning brings a maybe, or he says, It is too much for me to type, but meaning brings a maybe awakened effect to its done. I'm not going to keep reading every comment, y'all. I'm sorry, but y'all comments is coming at like speed, and I do want to get to this video. Staying still, he's still fighting it. He says, "True, but you should look too much into." I guess he means you shouldn't look too much into it because even Oda doesn't look too much into it. I don't know where you get that. I don't know where you get that assumption that Oda doesn't look into it, his own story. I don't know how you get that assumption. And then he says, because he said that Akainu is hotter than Ace, but in the real world, we know that fire is hotter than magma.
So what he said is fallacious because you're just saying fire is hotter than magma. Like, yes, fire can be hotter than magma. It doesn't mean that Akainu in that moment wasn't as hot as Ace. I mean, regardless, it was coming from Akainu's mouth. Maybe if had Ace been strong enough, his flames could get hotter than Akainu's, but it wasn't. The magma in a volcano is hotter than the flame on your stove. Like, don't think the flame on your stove is as hot as. Like, there's levels to things. You can't just go, oh, this is hotter than that, and you're using the most extreme degree. It's just, even that situation itself, it just shows that Akainu in that moment, it was stronger. He's hotter.
I'm going to say this.
He's just superior.
I got this lighter, right, that produces fire. Now, and if it was hotter than magma, my finger would burn off just from being this close to it.
You got the power of magma in the
So like fire just like can fire be hotter than lava? Magma, yes, but it's not just always hotter. It's, like he says, levels. You know, again, this is not burning my hand. You know what I mean? That's not burning my hand or anything.
I just want to say I would love to do a stream one day with Adam. Is Adam on the Discord?
Yeah, he's on the Discord.
Okay, yeah, you should definitely hit me up because I know he has a lot to say, and I definitely.
I told him I'm gonna get him in the stream because he believe me, he does have a lot to say. I might be a little play. He does have a lot to say, but he has some good ideas though. You know, it's just. He's meant for like smaller panels. I had him on a panel with like 6 other people, and you know, it's a little tough. But let's continue this video.
I got one last thing. Truly, right. To say that somebody shouldn't look too much into things sounds very Bellamy to me.
Right.
We're supposed to look into things. It's the fun of it. You're supposed to seek and, you know, just explore. You know, it's all about having fun, you know. Yeah. There's no detriment or consequence to looking into this stuff. Like I could be dead wrong. Whatever. I still had fun. I still looked into this stuff. I still shared it. We all had fun talking about it. That's really what it's about.
I understand. Look, man, if people would just not to look too deep into things, this One Piece community would be boring as hell, honestly. You know,
look at all these that go numbers and 34 on chapter 70, this, you know, that stuff is looking into, and it's great. They share with the community and we get a whole insight into it. You know, we're supposed to look into this stuff. I think Oda wants us to do that.
Exactly. And he says, yeah, sure, just making a discussion, but you can't make a discussion by telling people not to look into something. That's kind of stopping this discussion.
You don't look into it, there's no discussion.
That's stopping the discussion. What are you talking about? It's like, hey, y'all stop what y'all talking about. Y'all looking too much into things, man. Just stop.
Dang it. I guess you're right. Let's just end the stream.
Yeah, y'all, we gotta end this stream, man. Stan don't want us looking too deep. Oh, man.
Nah, it's all in good fun. I get what Stan's saying, though. I understand that want to, because that is providing discussion to say, well, what about this? But what about that?
But that's why you gotta play devil's advocate. Play devil, but you can't. You know, you can't really say like y'all looking too much into things. That's the point in theorizing. You're kind of looking too much into it. We know that we could be wrong. We get it. It's possible. You know, we could also be right. Or, you know, not me, because ELiDZ, he made the theory. But even in some of my theories that I might look too deep into, we could also be right. You know what I mean? People was people was talking about Sun God Luffy, you know, before it happened, and I'm pretty sure at that time you could have said, "Hey, I think you're just looking too much into it." But yeah, let's go.
When I made my suntan, they were like, Tiger Man, Tiger Man, Tiger Man. This is dumb. I don't know.
All right, let's continue though.
All right, I'm ready.
He says he's not saying don't look too much into it. He's saying he think we are looking too much into it. You're right, we are. We are looking too much into it. But if we didn't, we wouldn't have this discussion to talk to you guys about. And I'm ready whenever you're ready. So, are you playing?
Oh, what the?
No, I was asking, was you playing? Because mine wasn't playing.
Yeah, we was playing.
I don't know. Are we still in the same thing?
Okay, I guess we're not synced up. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
Maybe we took too long to.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think if I get back onto the video, it'll be fine.
Sorry, y'all. We having the video. We got it synced so we could both watch it at the same time, but it's not playing on my end. You know, it plays on his. Or you want me to try to play maybe? All right, now try it. Try it. It says sync in the party when I try to press play.
Yeah, it's me. All right, I'll be.
What'd you say? Well, I'll just read the comments until you figure that out. All right, y'all. Let's see. Adam says, I agree. Think it's gravity, ultimately like the pull from heaven's celestial bodies.
If you watch my video explaining Supreme Chi, also known as Haki, then you'd know that Chi is an energy.
Yeah, gravity definitely plays a role. Gravity attracts.
The pull that needs no understanding. Sorry, I will shut up. Why would you shut up? You don't have to shut up. And they said, and Stan, I think we can think that, and that's fine, but then there's no reason to discuss it. Maybe we can agree we have no idea that Oda does and doesn't do, but just do what we are doing and look. And the thing, Stan, I get your sentiment about us looking too much into it. I get it, or we could be looking too deep into it. And not like stop looking too deep. I get what you said right there, but the thing is, a lot of what he's talking about makes so much sense. You know what I mean? And a lot of the story even kind of is congruent with some of the stuff that he talks about. So, are we really looking too deeply into it? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. You know, he talks about the color of Haki. He talks about you know, this whole concept with Apu and how it was able to affect Kizaru, and you know, it's a lot of breadcrumbs that's showing that there is something to what he's talking about, and it's not just like Oda just winging things. Like, I don't think Oda is winging things. Like, he might change the concepts to kind of fit his own story or whatever, but they still are related, you know. If you're ready, we could go. Just let me know. You there, ELiDZ? Yeah, but yeah, I think he's trying to restart this whole thing.
If you watch my video explaining Supreme means that it isn't
For you?
Yeah, I'm ready. That's
purely spiritual. So even though it is invisible, it does have a physical presence. Conqueror's Haki, on the other hand, is just a force. It is intangible.
No, I'm at 135.
Oh. Okay. Let's go.
Okay. So just because it's been so long, basically what I was saying was that, hey, there's an invisible force that could do damage that we know as Haki, and then I'm gonna draw a comparison like, oh, here's a real world equivalent of something that's invisible that can also
Aura. The fact that it's a physical manifestation means that it isn't purely spiritual. So even though it is invisible, it does have a physical presence. Conqueror's Haki, on the other hand, is just a force. It is intangible. Do you know of a vibrational energy that is non-physical but can do physical damage? One that comes to mind is called sound. You know, like what Apu's devil fruit powers are?
Mom, I broke it! You did not.
Conqueror's Haki has been shown many times to coincide with sound, specifically yelling.
Don't you dare!
One thing to note about each of these instances, every time it happens, it's from someone who's not even intentionally tried to use Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah.
It's like they are just physically triggering this spiritual phenomenon, which was kind of like what I was trying to explain earlier, where it's like it's not the physical throat, it's the spiritual throat, but they don't know that because they haven't trained it.
Yeah.
The first three examples. Even this Big Mom example, it's Big Mom, she's just, instinctually using it. She's not even really trying to use Conqueror's Haki. It's just happened.
Yeah.
But if you master it, you don't have to activate the physical throat because it's not from the physical throat to begin with. It's spiritual. So then once you master it, you don't have to do all the screaming and stuff. Another thing to note is Apu's epithet is Roar of the Seas. Yet whenever we ever see Apu just go, Rah! Never. So it's like kind of interesting that
I didn't know that was the epithet.
particular word was used. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to
all the
Threevil.
things he could have used.
Shout out to Threevil in the chat. He said, "Yo." It's always good to have Threevil. But go ahead. What were you saying?
I just thought it was interesting that he would use that specific word, "roar of the seas," out of any other word he could have used.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know that was his name though. His epithet.
Yeah.
Also, similar to Apu's powers, Conqueror's Haki is often shown with multiple ripple effects. This makes sense because Haki, and not just Conqueror's, but all Haki is based off vibrations. Okay, it's not that simple. To understand, let's first real quick go over what Chi is again. Chi is vibrating in constant energetic motion within all things. With that in mind, let's look at a quote from world-renowned engineer and inventor Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations. This can even be factored in with observation Haki. If you notice, when it was first introduced, it was referred to as a voice that is heard. And what is a voice? Well, it's the sound you make. So once again showing how his powers are similar to multiple types of Haki. In Understanding Haki Part 2, I speculate fighting styles that could utilize armor and Haki, 3 of which showcase ripple effects. In the anime, whenever Conqueror's Haki is used, it is paired up with a sound of vibrating material. In fact, they use this very same sound effect when Burgess uses a move that involves him vibrating. And just look at his elbow gears, it looks like a speaker. Then you have the clash between Luffy and Doflamingo, which showcases both Armament and Conquerors.
There was
also, Adam said, earlier, he was like, voice could be more than just words, and he referenced the thunderclap. And if you notice, Conqueror's Haki is often shown with lightning. And what goes hand in hand with lightning? Thunder, which is a sound.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know something, because I was thinking about earlier when we talked about, because you just talked about the voices, right? How Haki helps you hear voices and things like that, and then we got something specifically called the voice of all things, right?
Yep.
So looking at how like observation Haki, or Haki in general, could help you hear voices, and it could. I also believe that it can help you project your voice as well. I think that's more of a Conqueror's Haki thing, kind of like when you said the throat chakra, right? So I think Conqueror's Haki is more of a projection of the voice, and then observation can pick up hear voices, right? But then we got the voice of all things, which to me just is a higher level. Kind of. I think Stan said it earlier, either Stan or Angel's Room. And I think we kind of talked about it as well. It's a higher level of observation Haki, because it's not just like certain voices that you can hear. You can hear any voice, be it the poneglyphs. Why do poneglyphs have voices, right? Why do swords have voices? Or, so it's more of a more encompassing thing versus where Sanji is more in tune with women. So if they're in trouble, he can hear a woman in trouble versus a man in trouble. Like that's not what he's in tune to. Or Zoro can I guess he smelled it, but I mean, was it really his actual just normal smell that booze, or was it a level of Haki, right?
Well, Haki can enhance the physical senses. We know this because Usopp was able to use observation Haki to see farther away.
Yeah.
So Stan made a great point. He said, to be fair, even regular armament Haki has the thunder effect to it, and that's it has the thunder effects to a lesser degree. And what I said earlier was that the throat chakra is what I believe to be, Conqueror's Haki, I believe, is the manifestation of the spirit, and that it is Haki in its rawest form, and that all the other Haki abilities sort of transform from that point. When you think of H2O, you think of water. You're not really going to think of ice or mist or steam. Just so think of it in that sense, where it's like, I'm not going to say necessarily its truest form, but its rawest form is that Conqueror's Haki. So the fact that we see it in armament as well makes sense. Especially, we only see it from armament when they clash. And once again, what goes well with lightning? Thunder. And what happens when two people with armament clash? Makes a noise.
Yeah.
So it's a thunderclap.
Yeah.
So even though I think lightning is more attributed to Conquerors, two armament users are using Haki, and Haki in its rawest form, I believe, is that spirit. Which is, then also comes back to when you asked me, does Usopp have Conquerors? And I gave a yes and no answer. No, I don't think he has it in the same way as Zoro and Luffy. But yes, I think on some level, everybody has that access to that spirit, to use that power of the soul. They have it in them. They just don't have the access like Luffy and Ace does, where they could just project it out willingly.
Yeah. Got you. But well, okay. Just kind of a dispute what you said. I guess there was a statement to say you can't really, like, I guess that not everybody has Conqueror's Haki. I guess there was something stated like that. Like, I guess not everybody could attain it or train it or whatever. Like, train to have it, train to unlock
you can't
it.
train to have it.
Yeah, and
you can't train to have the ability to use that Conqueror's Haki that we're familiar with.
Yeah, because that was kind of a point that we kind of disputed as well. Because I want to say it was Styles. He was part of the stream, and he really was kind of against the idea of Usopp having it. And one thing he stated was that you had to be born with Conqueror's Haki. Now, I don't think it was ever stated you had to be born with it, but I think depending on the translation, I do believe that it kind of implies that you have to be born with it, or not everybody has access to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know, but yeah, I'm ready whenever you're ready.
All right.
That showed a huge ripple. So as you can see, vibrational energy is the common factor in both types of Haki. However, even with the same source, the vibrations are used in different ways. Energy is everywhere, and in everything, there's energy. We have centers in our body that are conductors for this energy. These energy centers are called chakras. Through these chakras, we take in and send out energetic vibrations on many different levels, such as body, mind, heart, and soul. Each chakra has a different color associating with it, and each color has a different vibration. Now what we're going to do is figure out which type of Haki is associated with which frequency. Armament Haki can involve an energy wave that indiscriminately attacks all that comes into contact with it. Conqueror's Haki can specifically target its enemies, much like Apu's Devil Fruit powers. One thing to note is that while Conqueror's Haki can do physical damage, it isn't limited to just physical attacks. In fact, it primarily does spiritual and psychological damage. It's really only the strongest, or should I say loudest voices, that does physical damage, such as those of the Yonko. Luffy was knocked out for a bit when hit by an explosion caused by Apu. Luffy isn't some random fodder, he's the future king of the pirates. Sure, it may have been internal damage, but Luffy is no stranger to taking internal attacks. He's been hit with impact dials and Rokuguns. However, if you look at the face Luffy makes, it's very similar to that of the face he made when being psychologically damaged from witnessing Ace's death. Credit to Ghoulish Theories for pointing this out. We know that memories and spirits are linked because of how Pudding's memory powers affect Big Mom's soul powers. So that
Also, we know that memories also like affect, Samji's fire abilities, and we also seen memories just have an effect on the supernatural occurrences in One Piece in general.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
That pretty much covers my reasons I believe Apu's Devil Fruit powers are based off of Haki. It is possible that Apu's Devil Fruit ability is simply just turning himself into an instrument, and then he uses his Haki to amplify and weaponize the effects of his music. However, I have reason to believe that the Devil Fruit itself contains the ability to utilize Haki. This means even if Apu wasn't naturally gifted with Conqueror's Haki, like Luffy, he would still have the ability to use Conquerors through his fruit. In order to hear,
I don't think Apu is someone that would have Conqueror's Haki, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so.
I think it has to do with the fruit. Same thing with Brook. I kind of talk about Brook. I don't think Brook naturally is someone who would have Conqueror's Haki. But I do think his Devil Fruit grants him the Conqueror's Haki-like abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was gonna say, I feel as though Oda missed out on a great opportunity with like Apu versus Brook. Like that could have been Brook's Wano fight, because Brook's the only Straw Hat that didn't really have like a major fight this whole arc. Even though last arc he did get to have a clash with Big Mom. He was the first Straw Hat to have a clash with a Yonko, if I remember correct. Yeah, I don't remember any of the other ones. But yeah, so he was the first one to have a clash with a Yonko, and now in the next arc he don't get no one-on-one.
Yeah, this is almost over, so I'll let it finish, and then after that we could look at the chat.
Yeah.
Alright.
To hear me fully explain this, please stay tuned and check out Understanding Haki Part 3 and 4 when those videos come out. And of course Part 1 and 2 if you haven't already. In Part 3, I will explain why the element of sound is attributed to Conqueror's Haki, which will then lead me to explain why it is singers and musicians such as Brook, Apu, and Big Mom seem to have domain over spirits through the use of their own spiritual powers. And in Part 4, I will go over why Haki and Devil Fruit powers are interconnected. I will go full Vegapunk and really try to uncover the true origins of Devil Fruits and why their powers are the way that they are.
Okay.
Yeah, when you look at Brook, how was he able to affect, Big Mom stuff, homies?
Yeah,
right?
he's the only person
like
known to actually damage a homie.
I think Marco
like
did.
to a point where, Well, here's the thing.
Was
Even
it Marco?
Jinbei was able to throw. Yeah, Marco. With his own fire, which that's you know where
Yeah.
does the soul play a factor in that? But I wonder what Prometheus factors in when he says Brooke is the only person to hurt me, because we've seen Jinbei throw water on Prometheus. So it's like, does he count that as his second time? Is that really the second time he's only been hurt? Like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine no one's ever thrown water on him before. So it's like, I think when he's saying he's hurt, he's really meaning it like on such a deep level, more than
Yeah.
just
Surface, like water being thrown on.
yeah, I think his fire is really not his identity. Prometheus is a spirit inhabiting a fire, just like Brooke is a spirit inhabiting a skeleton. So I think
Mm.
when Prometheus says he gets hurt, he's not really saying the fire is
Saying
getting
his
hurt.
soul is
He's
hurt.
saying his soul got hurt. That's who he really identifies as.
Yeah.
And Brooke is kind of similar. Like, Brooke can get beat up, but then he's just like, all right, I'll just go drink some milk, and then you know. But if something happened to his soul, then he'd really be in trouble.
Let me read some of these chats, unless you was about to get into something.
No, I was gonna say let's look at these chats.
All right. Man, so many chats. I'm just gonna have to kind of start from. All right. So Adam says really makes me think about in the beginning of the series how important and dangerous the sea was, and how no man could beat it. Needed knowledge to navigate. Even Garp says he died at open seas. In the prototypes, like the Ultimate Man versus Nature, whose opposite or whose opposite might be hunger, which I think might be another aspect. And then Stan says every person has haki in them, but you can't train to have conquerors haki. You are either born with it or not. I don't think it was ever explicit. Like it's been said you can't train it, but I don't think it was ever explicitly that you couldn't be, that you had to be born with it. Now again, I don't know, because again, like I might have, I haven't looked too deep because I know there's different translations, so I can't.
Yeah,
I can
don't
only
know if
speak
it's
on
ever
the.
been explicitly stated. Either.
Yeah. I can't speak on the translations, but whatever I read pretty much says you can't train to get it. It's kind of implying that you either have it or not, but that could also mean like it just it's just not something you could train to activate. It's just something that you just maybe, depending on the situation, you may activate it. I don't know. It could be interpreted either way to me, but I don't remember it saying you're either born with it or not. I don't remember that ever being stated. I know it was implied that not everybody can have it though. And he said, Angel said, Rayleigh people who have usually have a big name. That's all says, or Rayleigh says whatever. Adam says that to me was one of the main clues for me, with it being electromagnetic related. Certain areas have stronger, weaker effects like magnets. Trees are one of Earth's biggest magnets. And I mean, you could stop me if you want to, speak on something that one of their statements. But I'm gonna keep going. But you could stop me.
I could just read verbatim what Viz translated as. It says, really says, this is the power to overwhelm, the color of the Supreme King. Most people who've made a name for themselves in this world possess this power. Though you can control the color of the Supreme Kings, you can't train it to be stronger directly. It is the embodiment of the spirit of the user. The only way to make it stronger is for the user to grow stronger. So yeah, I think Angel's Room has it the most accurate, where he, one, never says you have to be born with it, and two, he doesn't even say you can't train to get it. I do think it has to do with I do think there is a special requirement that is almost inherent or inherited.
Yeah.
So inherited doesn't necessarily mean you have to be born with it. You could inherit it from something after you're born, such as my theory is a double fruit.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like that, and that ultimately what I believe. I believe you have to have like I've said it before. I believe it takes a certain type of disposition on life, right?
Hmm.
And but it's more of an inherited disposition. It's not like I can't just be like, you know what, I want to have Conquerors Haki, so I'm gonna be brave all of a sudden. I'm gonna just want to become Pirate King because you can't really truly you can't truly change who you are at your core. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's more of a who you are at your core type of situation. That's that. At least that's what I believe. I don't believe it's like genetic type thing where it's just you're born with it. It's just you're waiting to access it. I think it's more of the type of person you are. You know,
Hmm.
and Luffy is a special individual. You know, you can't just train to become Luffy. Like you can't
Yeah.
train to have that type of personality. You know, or like a lot of these other Yonko or characters who have it as well. Um, but yeah, one of the issues I guess what they said like when we was kind of debating this with Usopp and we talked about Conquerors Haki, it was I guess they somebody I guess it was Styles. He said he had a problem with he didn't like or he didn't trust in Viz's translation. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
fair.
and that's the point where I say I haven't read all the translations. So you know, if you don't trust in Viz, I guess you wouldn't believe it. But you know,
Yeah, and no one's saying that it's implying that you can train to get it. Simply that it's not outright stated that you can't train.
yeah,
I think, and in fact, I don't even think it's a training to get it. Um, my whole theory was that either you have the outer voice or you don't. That's the throat chakra. That's the one we typically think of Conquerors Haki, the outer voice. Either you are that type of person or you aren't.
mm-hmm.
But then there's the inner voice because everybody has a soul. Everybody has their inner voice. They can do things. It's like when you're being creative, a lot of people are outspoken, they're showing off. But just because you don't show off to people doesn't mean you're not creative. You can create something just for yourself, for only yourself. It's just that simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with that the soul and the concept of this advanced conquerors, which I believe is really becoming one with things or implementing your spirit into things. You know, I think if you're a swordsmith, you're not going to be as out there as a swordsman because there's no point. You're not on the battlefield. You're not trying to conquer people and defeat. You're just someone who makes a sword. So you might not be someone that has that type of conqueror's haki like Luffy or Zoro, but you might have this advanced form that allows you to put your spirit into things.
Yeah, yeah, and we both talked about how we believe like cursed swords are made by like swordsmiths with hockey, right? It's like hockey infused swords to a degree. That's why
Different
they're
from the black
alive,
blades.
huh?
Different from the black blades, just to
Yeah,
make that distinction. Black
yeah,
blades,
yeah,
I
yeah. Of
believe,
course.
it's kind of the same thing, but it's made by the swordsmen. Swordsmen create black blades, while swordsmith would
Create
create
cursed.
a cursed blade.
Yeah. You can stop me at any time. I'm gonna keep reading these chats. So if you see something you want to speak on, just stop me. Adam
Okay.
says, and I did not say it matters who you are. You are either. It's all about where, like the X on the pirate map. Um,
Mm.
I guess he's saying it doesn't matter who you are to get Conquerors Haki. It matters where you are. I,
Yeah.
Stan says, well, I think it's kind of implied that Brooks' soul vibrates on a different frequency compared to the other souls because of his devil fruit. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, that's kind of basically if Conqueror's Haki is the embodiment of someone's spirit, right? It's the embodiment of it's their soul. And this guy literally has the power to manipulate his soul.
Yeah,
You put two and two together and it's like would it be that unfounded a guy literally calls himself the Soul King.
yeah.
Soul
King.
King
Yep.
could use Conqueror's Haki, which Haki is the spirit and Conqueror is a king. Like it's literally in the name.
Yeah.
It should be that surprising that he's able to, at the very least, replicate Conqueror's Haki.
And Stan, you hit the nail on the head because it's pretty much what we've been saying, right? Like we talk about when we talk about chi and things, we talk about frequencies. You know what I'm saying? And same with Haki. Haki works on a level of it works on frequencies. And you just even pointed out how Brooks' devil fruit pretty much it vibrates on a different frequency, right? Which is kind of part of the encompassing idea of Haki and chi and things like that, frequencies. And he also says, and that's why he can't affect the less powerful souls than his. And then Angel said, Rayleigh says you can't train it to get stronger, not that you can't train to get it. Rayleigh says you can't train to get your Conqueror's Haki stronger. He never says you can't train to get it. Oh, you just repeat it. And then Stan says Rayleigh said that you can train to control it, but not train to have it. I think ELiDZ already read that. So, do you still got it up, ELiDZ? What Rayleigh said? Just so we could
all he
kind
said
of.
was, all he says, though you can control Conqueror's Haki, you can't train it to be stronger directly.
So there's what he said. You can't train it to be stronger.
Which makes sense. If if it's a spiritual ability, if it's something detached from the body, doing push-ups isn't necessarily gonna train it. It's really, you gotta become better as a person, and then your Conqueror's Haki will just grow alongside it. Really, it's more about conviction than anything.
Yeah. Stan says, and that the stronger your will, the stronger it is. Adam says, exactly, the magnetic pull of the magnet can be held, controlled, and it can be strengthened like an electromagnet, getting more electricity to be used to make the pull stronger. But I am not trying to derail. I mean like Buggy and Shank's argument, the North or South Pole, negative, positive charge, and I tried to interpret from the official in the scans and hopefully someday the raws. LOL, but my eyes. And then I guess that's where it kind of ends. So yeah, I guess he means Conqueror's Haki's like magnetism. Are you talking about Conqueror's Haki or being like?
I could see how that's like that. One of the things I say is an ability of Conqueror's Haki is, if you remember when Rayleigh was looking at Luffy on the Paramount War, he was like, "Oh, you have the scariest power in the seas. You're able to draw people to you." I think there's something to that, and that involves Conqueror's Haki, and it makes sense because someone who the conqueror doesn't imply you're just someone who like dominates, like someone who just beats up everybody. It's also you're a king, like you're a leader.
Yeah.
So you not only can beat anybody, but you also get people on your side.
And
so
that
it
was,
makes sense that that would be a ability.
and that's kind of my argument with Usopp, because the argument against him was like he doesn't have that bravery like Zoro and Luffy, and I'm like, but Usopp has this attitude where he is scared, but he overcomes at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't let the fear hold him, and to them that's kind of like he's conquering his fear, right? And then he also wins people over as well. Just the Straw Hat Fleet, the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, you could attribute to Usopp being God Usopp. Like people were looking at him like a god, not even a king. Like what's the king to a god, right? But people were people look at him as a god. But I mean that's kind of that was my argument. But I just to say that. But continuing with these chats, Stan says, wait, but Rayleigh says it clearly that this type of haki cannot be attained through training. We kind of pointed that out already. Even though I think this was kind of an old comment.
I don't think it's like training. It's along the topic of being a leader, right? If you're a leader, you kind of have to be outspoken. You can't be a leader and not be outspoken. You got to speak up. People have to hear your voice. It's like you kind of have to be an extrovert to a degree. So that whole leader quality, I think, is more have to do with the throat chakra. That's one of the things
when I say like there's like a level 1 of Conqueror's Haki and then there's a level 2. It's not a ranking. That's one of the things I constantly say in my theories. None of this is a ranking. None
Yeah.
of the higher frequencies are better than the lower frequencies. So I don't think that if, let's say, I'm correct that Usopp can actually have access to use the power of his soul. He can use this level 2 of Conqueror's Haki that now he's surpassed the first level. It's like, no, it's just he's able to use that. He's able to reach that frequency. If anything, someone who's like Luffy, who has access to that lower frequency, has the advantage no matter what, because he from that point could also use that more advanced form of Conquerors, which I believe he'll be able to do, which I believe is what makes people like Shanks, Mihawk, Roger, Garp. That's what makes these guys so strong. And I think, one of the things people say is like, One Piece has been going on so long, and Oda hasn't talked about these things. So why would he start now? And it's like, I think he's been holding on to this stuff to reveal it one day. That's why we haven't seen Mihawk fight. That's why we haven't seen Shanks fight. That's why we haven't seen a proper fight from Roger, because he's waiting to reveal these things. I don't think that because if it's just Haki mastery as we know Haki canonically, then wouldn't it be kind of boring if Shanks, Mihawk, and Roger, they all just fight the same? Like, I think it's also funner to think that there is this path to enlightenment that can replicate Dofus powers, and they have their own interesting abilities.
And add on to what you said, we can even go as far as I want to say it was the last chapter or one of the last chapters where Kaido says like Haki transcends all, right?
Yeah, that's
like
strong Dofu's not enough. It truly is Haki, which is my next video. Is gonna be just a little thing about how I think the true potential of Gear 5th is really the Haki component, the colors of Haki being added to Gear 5th.
And let me say this. I also want to say this, and it's a hypothetical question. You don't have to answer it, but or not hypothetical. I forget what you called it. The question, a rhetorical question. Why would if we pretty much seen like everything we've seen with Haki so far in the series, why would Kaido say that? Why would Oda feel the need to have Kaido talk about Haki and how it transcends if there's not going to be more to Haki in the future?
Exactly. Especially in the face of Gear 5th, Just Awakening. Oda just showed Gear 5th. This was supposed to think that Luffy, like some people are like, now Luffy surpassed the Admirals. Luffy's the second strongest in the series. And in the face of all that, Kaido goes, well, sit down, actually. Haki really is the best thing. Sure, you have a strong Dofu, but Haki truly matters. And that's, if you look at my Luffy Awakening videos, I constantly said I think it's gonna be awakening and mastery to get Haki mastery together that really makes what I think Luffy's true potential is gonna turn out to be.
Yeah. Going back to this chat, Stan says, wait, but Rayleigh says clearly that this type of Haki cannot attain through training, meaning you either have it or you don't. The only thing you can do with it is if you have it, you can train to control it. We kind of talked about this, but I mean, I guess these comments are kind of old, so maybe he's kind of changed. He says, wait, but it's not Conqueror's Haki, it's just Haki. And then Adam says, Soul Magnet when Blackbeard gets his fruit. Don't get me wrong, I think the second soul is a huge thing, just not Haki totally. And then Stan says, even if you look in the One Piece wiki, it says that this type of Haki cannot be attained through training, and they get their info from the manga. And I remember when I read it and when it was in the anime. Well, again, you are free to send something in the Discord that's saying otherwise. You don't have to argue. You could just send the stuff. Stan is really gung ho about this whole Conqueror's Haki debate. And how strong it is depends on how strong it was. Adam says we can break down the wiki, but I think the video is about the manga story. It's full meaning in One Piece. And then he said, yeah, but the wiki is based in the manga. They put stuff in the wiki which are said in manga. Angel Room said in the official viz, he says people are rarely able to manipulate it. Conquers Haki. Oh man, y'all got so many goddamn chats. In fighting, we do know that there are better versions of Conquers Haki. I'm gonna skip past Conquers Haki because I feel as though we keep beating this horse. If you compare that Luffy versus Kaido, just put. Adam says, "Me too," and I do think it's like DB or Dragon Ball, and everyone just thinks about the Super Saiyan, but there are 30 of 42 volumes that were Super Saiyan Genless, and like gravity of the sun transcends all.
Oh, I got something. I know you wanted to move on from the topic, but there was actually just one thing that Rayleigh said that was kind of important.
What he said?
He said he was talking about the first two Haki. He says the color of observation and the color of arms are the two Haki powers, right? So they're the two Haki powers. However, in the rare case, some people are able to manipulate a third form of Haki. He doesn't even say necessarily that only 3 rare people have this. He specifically says are able to manipulate a third form of Haki.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my whole point, is that this third form of Haki is something that everybody has. They have this power in them, but only some of them are able to manipulate. It's not something you're born with. It's not a special thing you're born with. Everybody has it. Only special few are able to manipulate it.
Yeah.
That's what I think of it.
Yeah, okay. Adam said, and the gravity of the sun transcends all. I mean, might be on to something right there, since we got the sun god. Maybe I don't know. But Luffy being the sun god and him attracting people, having probably a heavy level of gravity that attracts people, kind of makes sense a little bit. Angel's Room said, by the way, I'm not trying to argue that anyone can train for it. I'm just saying in the English translation, it says nothing about being born with it. I know, Angel, that's pretty much what we're saying, but Stan wants to argue it to death. Stan wants to argue, like, look, we going by translations that we read, man. Like, I get there's other translated that might contradict it, but then you just gotta take which translation you want to believe, Adam says, I agree, Angel. Either way, it seems to be ambiguous. Was that amphibian joke? I'm here all week. And he also says, all I meant was like, technically everything in the Milky Way is ultimately influenced by the gravity of the sun and other stars. Well, our solar system is affected by our sun. All the other solar systems have their own star or possibly even multiple stars. I mean, I don't know. Can a solar system have multiple stars to it? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think that might be a rare thing. Do they show the mark of the crab on the wiki? Because I could not find it, and that's the entire SBS of a volume. Really great catch with that, and I think it's like an electromagnet. Adam, we love that. He loved that magnet, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to look into with that.
I bet though. Stan says, and the thing about being born with it, again, it was never stated. Stan, I want you to send me a scan that says you have to be born with it. All right, not that kind of implies it. I want to see something that says you have to be born with it, because y'all keep saying that he have to be born with it. So send me a scan that says that, because ELiDZ already read from the official version, so you got to show something. Show some receipts, man. Show some receipts, man. Angel said, yeah, I sent the scan into the Discord earlier. And Adam said, and to be clear, I think Luffy is the sun god, but that is not his fruit. But we don't have time for all that. All the other stars do to us too. Like the Sirius star is ultimately what our sun rotates around in orbit. Well, no, I get that. You're right. Other stars do have. I thought you said like the sun, as in our star has, like it affects the Milky Way, and I don't think our sun has that much of an effect on the whole Milky Way. It might affect some other areas, outside our solar system, but I don't think it has that big of a effect. But I'm not like even though I do like astronomy, because I when I grew up, I like, astronomy and all that stuff. I'm not an astronomer. And Stan says, and to the question on the systems having multiple stars, yes, there are systems that have two stars in them, and they are more common than our own. Okay, didn't know that. Learn something new every day. Adam says, I'm not saying being born with it. I think it can be tuned or on through action input.
Maybe not everybody can be born with it, but maybe if you train like a monk or a hermit or something, you can touch on that power to some degree. Zoro, we know that Zoro's Ashura is related to conquerors, right? He used Ashura on Kaido, and Kaido's like, wow, you have conquerors, showing a direct correlation.
Yeah.
It wasn't until that very moment that he used Ashura that he went, oh, you have conquerors. So there's something to that. And we know Zoro could use that ever since pre-time skip, before he even knew what Haki was.
Mm-hmm.
But we also know Zoro is someone who takes his training very seriously, and he even meditates. He even uses chants. Like, he doesn't have to chant, but he does anyway. That's a very spiritual act. He may not be religious, but he clearly has a lot of conviction and faith in what he does.
Yeah. Hey, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Adam says, or no, I read that one. Stan says, you didn't read my full comment about being born with it, that I was talking about Garp. I'm not saying that it's 100%, but Garp says that Luffy was born with it, which tilts in that direction. I probably missed a lot of comments, Stan. The chat was going real fast, and I didn't want to have to go super far back to read all of them. Adam says, no, you are totally correct. I definitely worded it wrong up there. LOL, my bad. Adam says, Garp is surprised that Marineford Luffy has it. Angel says, another thing is that same panel Stan is talking about, Akainu had said, so he triggered it unconsciously. And Adam says, maybe death is one form of the turn on Switch. I think it is 1,000. And we are caught up on the chat. I'll try to keep up with the chat now that we're done the video. So yeah. So we ain't gotta have to read all them chats. So that was my bad. All right. So I just want to say one last thing about Conqueror's Haki, because I really don't feel like keep having to beat the bush. I'll let ELiDZ get the last word on Conquerors, but I'm gonna say my final piece. Stan, send a panel in the channel in the Discord that says something about you have to be born with it. If that is indeed the case, to show me. I'm more willing to change my mind if I see something that says that. But or I'll take it into consideration, at least, depending on what it says. But if it directly says that, then I'll change my mind. Fine. And also, I don't believe you have to be born with it. I think it is a something based off of like the person, like a trait of the person, their disposition or whatever. And because I think everyone we've seen with it have some type of disposition that balances on some type of a conqueror. And when I say conqueror, I don't mean like somebody who conquers land or they just rule everything. I just mean somebody who overcomes like they have a goal and they might overcome it, or they just have a disposition to overcome things. And I think that in itself, that certain disposition to overcome, I think that may be inherited, right? I don't think that's something people could just develop. So in a sense, the fact that they can't develop that means they would never achieve unlocking Conqueror's Haki. Like the average person don't have that level of ambition, so I don't see the average person gaining that. So but yeah, that's my thought on it. I think it could be a inherited character trait to somebody. So I'll let ELiDZ say whatever. And then we moving on. I'm not reading no more comments about Conqueror's Haki and who could have them.
Okay, so I think that, like you're saying, the whole disposition, based on who you are inside, personality, your physicality, even your own emotions could actually affect your color of Haki, right? So we talked about color of Haki. If you think of it with just the 3 Hakis, there's color of armament, color of observation, color of conquerors. But then I split it up into 7 different colors. Mm-hmm. And armament has 3 colors, right? Observation has 2, that's a total of 5. And then conquerors has 2 colors, that's 7. Armament is simply just the lower 3. Then we have green, which is observation, blue, which is conquerors. Then you have indigo, which is observation again, and then violet, which is conquerors. And the fact that the mind and these observation is like the mind and conquerors is spirit. You know, there's the mind, body, and spirit. Those are the 3 things.
What was blue?
The mind and the spirit? Blue was
conquerors.
Yeah, conquerors.
And
I sent a link. I'm gonna try to send this link again.
So blue was conquerors and red was conquerors. Or red or violet was conquerors.
No, violet.
Cause I was just kind of my bad in my head. I was imagining that fight with Katakuri versus Luffy, and when they was both doing that their Haki, and Luffy had like, I want to say it was red Haki or red conquerors, and I think Katakuri's was blue. So I thought maybe red was sign of conquerors as well.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. I'm about to send a link in the chat for people to look at what I'm trying to get across. It's something it's like.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just sending a link that's a work in progress. I'm literally typing it in right now.
All right. While you're sending that, I'm gonna read the chat. Well, you could interrupt me anytime. Adam says, I think it's 1,000%. So the number one way to influence the magnetic pull power of a magnet is to literally take it around the world. Think Roger's egg, the first one to go around this version of the world. Basically, it's not 100% confirmed, but the story tilts in that direction. That you have to be born with it because Garp says in Marineford, so he was born with it after all. But the story tilts in that direction that you have to be born with it because Garp says in Marineford, so okay, I see what you're saying. Adam says, and if the egg hatched at Amazon Lily, then that could be one character's second rotation. Angel Room said no. Akaino says instinctively, so it might just be a natural instinct you have to unlock. I guess that would make it unnatural. Adam says, I am talking about all Haki, my bad. No, we're talking about Haki. I'm just saying I'm not talking about, I say I'm not going to continue to talk about like whether you're born with Conqueror's Haki or not. That's what I meant, Adam. This whole topic is about Haki, though. And I don't care if y'all want to talk about Conquerors, because that's what we talking about, all Haki. I'm just solely talking about the whole if you're born with it or not. I'm not going into that anymore. And I'm in the Discord. We can chat. I will message you later too, ELiDZ. But yeah, so you move on to.
I think what it is, I can't send links in the chat. I think that's what it is. There's YouTube stops you from being able to post links.
Let me
try to see if I can work a way around that.
I'm about to whatever. All right, so I guess there was a topic that we kind of had planned to talk about a little bit.
Oh no,
and that is Haki and devil fruits, right? Then
yeah.
So what's up?
I wanted to help give people a frame of reference with this link, but I'll type it in the I'll try to type something in the chat to help people be able to visually see what I'm talking about.
About the Haki and the devil fruits?
Yeah, the different colors.
All right. So
we have red, root, earth.
So while he does that, I'm gonna kind of go into the next topic. Somebody, are you?
I can talk about it while I'm typing. Yeah.
Are you Truth Seeker? I mean, where did?
Oh, yeah. I typed that in. I was trying to see maybe if my account was stopping me from being able to post.
Okay. I was a little confused.
Can you see that Truth Seeker comment?
It was there. It's in like the chat on my Streamlabs. I got like the chat off to the sides, because they stay. Like even if you delete it, it stays. And I was waiting for that comment to jump on to my actual feed, but it didn't.
I just realized, what if I could just send you the link? Maybe you could post it.
You could think
about that.
You could send me the link. Yeah, send me the link.
I'll still type this out for the people anyway.
So all right, so all right, I'm gonna put it in the chat. All right, y'all. I sent the link that y'all could go check out. But yeah, so me and ELiDZ pretty much kind of we got this. We talked about this before, and I'm gonna kind of let him kind of go into it because I guess you have
now that people can see it, it's way easier.
Yeah, you have a lot more to add to it. But all right, so we talked about devil fruits and Haki, like the connection with devil fruits and Haki. Are you still putting the colors in there?
Yeah, I figure I might as well since I started it.
So yeah, all right. So I mean, now I'm gonna kind of tell y'all my theory because I don't want to speak for ELiDZ, because ELiDZ might have a separate, different thought on things. But had discussing with ELiDZ, I guess there was a concept that you kind of brought up about devil fruit users, or not devil fruit, Haki users being able to create devil fruit abilities, right? Mm-hmm. And some examples that we see that could potentially showcase this already is when we see Luffy using Red Hawk, like being able to manifest fire. Luffy and both Luffy and Sanji, possibly using Haki in order to create fire abilities. And then we have Brook, who we know can create like ice abilities. Zoro, his is more spiritual abilities, such as like a zone to a degree. Being able to turn into Ashura, almost growing 3 heads and I want to say 6 arms and 6 legs. That we seen back in Enies Lobby, right? This was way before Haki was even introduced at this point, right? And now a lot of I guess a lot of things that point to this, ELiDZ kind of describes in his Understanding Haki videos, right? Like how fire can be created using the what was it, the heart or the solar plexus?
Mm-hmm.
The solar plexus
For which one? Sorry.
for fire.
Yeah, that is the solar plexus.
Okay, yeah. So and that's kind of a reason why we kind of go into this chakra stuff, right? That's the reason why, or I don't want to say that's the reason, but you know, that's part of the reason why ELiDZ goes so deep into each of the separate chakras, because he can relate it to certain abilities that we've seen in the story, you know, such as Luffy conjuring fire, you know, and Sanji as well. Like, we know the first time Sanji used it, he had to spin, cause friction, start fire. That's how it was explained. But later down the line, we see Sanji using it without spinning, right?
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah. So it's like there's no science behind just a spontaneous. I mean, I guess there could be science.
It's the wonder. It's a phenomenon, but it's not like actual proof as to why it would happen. Like, people don't just combust.
Yeah.
And then there's a research about why that happens.
Yeah.
There's an anime about that. This thing is called Fire Force.
Oh,
They're trying to figure out why people just combust for no reason.
Yeah, I watched it. I don't know if I watched the latest season, but if there is a latest season,
episodes.
I think I watched like two seasons of it. But yeah, so what was I talking about? Yeah, Haki and devil fruits, right? Haki and devil fruits. So okay, so let's take it to or do you got something to add? Because I feel as though you probably got a better concept than I do, and I don't.
There's the road to enlightenment, right? The path to ultimate power. Like when Judge and the Vince Moles are talking about what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to godhood. This concept of like reaching some ultimate power, and there's these different paths of getting there. And I think what this ultimate power, it's not something vague. It's something that could actually be attainable, and we see in the story through devil fruits. But the thing about devil fruits is you're cheating. For example, I speculate that Apu is using Conqueror's Haki, but Apu himself doesn't have Conqueror's Haki, and I don't think he even knows how to use it. I don't think at that point he knew how to use all the different types of Haki. Mm-hmm. It's his devil fruit that is accomplishing this. It's cheating. It's like he didn't take that road. He didn't take that path. It's the same thing with Luffy and Kaido right now. Kaido said, "Oh, devil fruits aren't all that. It's about Haki." Now here's the thing. Kaido has a devil fruit. So I don't think he's necessarily trying to talk down on devil fruits like they're useless or anything. But really what it is, if someone reaches a point of enlightenment that they could replicate a devil fruit power, then they're just better than devil fruit users. But I don't think devil fruit users are left in the dust. They just have to not cheat. They have to then take their own path to their own sort of awakening. And I think that involves devil fruit awakening.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to present today is knowing what we know about these different frequencies. Now, to be fair, we didn't go into it. We didn't watch Understanding Haki Part 3. But at the very least, you could always just look at it into it yourself. But also, I sent this link. It should be available to anyone that clicks it now. It wasn't before, but I changed that. And
I kind of want to point something out. What Stan says, and the reason why I keep pointing Stan out, it's not. I'm not picking on Stan. Everybody, like, Stan challenges what we're saying. So I like to point him out because he's challenging us, right? And that's not that's no knock to everybody else in chat. I'm gonna read all your guys. I'm gonna try to read all your guys' chat, but him challenging us makes us have to explain our points even better. So I like the fact that Stan challenges.
It's a good thing.
He says we still don't know if there is a science related to Sanji being able to create fire, because when he used it versus Queen, said it's not like you are a Lunarian, so maybe this is some genetics involved. I'm just saying what I see to me for food for thought and discussion, not searching for clear yes or no till the story says. Until then, just fun ideas. Or no, that's that was a different comment. I kind of want to speak on Stan, what Stan says. And you know something, Stan, you might be right. It might have something to do with science. I'm not even disagreeing with that, but that also, I believe that Vinsmoke was trying to create devil fruits, or some he was trying to create devil fruit users without devil fruit. I think he was trying to create people living devil fruits, right? Kind of. I think that's part of why Sanji or all the Vinsmoke's eyes are swirly, and then when you look at a devil fruit, it's also swirled. Like their eyes are like devil fruits, swirly like devil fruits at the very least. So what I'm saying is, I think that Judge probably has used science to try to replicate either devil fruit or Haki. Because
mind you,
because Vegapunk has done the same thing as well, and probably Queen to a degree. So yes, you may be right, but that still doesn't disprove what we're saying. If anything, it kind of backs it up, because science can be used to achieve the same thing. It's multiple paths to the same outcome. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. Mind you, here's another tidbit of information about chakra. First of all, it translates as a wheel, right? It's a spinning circular thing.
Yeah.
But even more descriptive definition of it is that it is a energy center described as a vortex. Chakras are vortexes of energy, emitting and receiving energy. And when you think of vortexes, what would you think of?
I was about to say black holes, but
well, yeah, there's a point to that. But really, the spiral. A spiral is a vortex.
Yeah, spiral. Yeah. I thought you meant like.
But even the whole black hole thing, you look at Blackbeard and his relation with devil fruits. There's definitely something there too. So I just want to throw that out. Go into more detail in my understanding.
That's good. That's good. Adam says, "Have you thought or looked into the types of chakras in comparison to the part of the soul in the ba?" I don't know if that's just a typo, but he said in the ba, etc. Yeah, you want to answer that? He said, "Have you thought of?" He says, "Have you thought or looked into the type of chakra in comparison to the parts of the soul in the ba?" I don't know if the ba means anything to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't. That might be a typo though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll move on. You could think about that question if you want. He says, and you mean after a rotation for Sanji, maybe why his fire is higher color. I gotta go, but great stream. Shout out to Angel's Room. Sorry I couldn't. He probably left already. My bad, bro. But shout out to Angel's Room. Adam says, maybe why his fire is higher color in the heat chart might be handy for the core of the Earth. I mean, the Earth does rotate as well, which is another sign of the spiral, right?
Another thing to factor in,
and the solar system. But go ahead.
Yeah, is let's say it was related to the Lunarians. Let's not say that the Lunarians themselves don't have a relationship with Haki, and their reasoning for using fire has to do with spiritual. That is then put into their DNA. Because what Adam keeps bringing up is animals and where can that factor in? And the thing with Fishman Karate is it is very much like Advanced Armament Haki or Ryo, which I speculate to be the sacral, which has the element of water. So it kind of just shows there's a whole bunch of coincidences there. So maybe these I mean, just being a fisherman itself is a supernatural. That's what this whole theory is, really is. It's like, how do you explain these supernatural things in One Piece? And a lot of it just comes back to Haki. And as crazy as it seems, it's like, well, it's the concept of the source, or Haki being all things, the voice of all things.
Mm-hmm.
These things can be both scientific and also have to do with Haki at the same time.
Yeah, you know, I just had I mean, maybe you thought of this, but I just had like just now, like my mind just, maybe, I mean, not just a mind blown moment, but kind of like a aha moment just now. And I was just thinking, you know how the solar system, we talking about spirals, right? We talking about these spirals,
Yeah.
and how they're related to so many. There's so many examples all throughout anime of spirals and the importance of it. You know, what is, like, if you look at the biggest spiral of all, right? Or not of all, I don't want to say of all because there's bigger spirals, but I'm going to look at it just in our solar system. The biggest spiral is our solar system, right?
Yeah.
What is at the center of that spiral?
The sun.
Yes, sir. And what is Luffy? The sun god. He's at the center of the spiral. So, man, that, like, what does that mean right there? You know, like, what does that even mean? Him being the center of the spiral, when spirals are like heavily related to devil fruits. They're heavily related to Sanji's eyebrows and the vent smokes. You could probably say even Haki, like spirals are related to Haki to a degree. But I don't really know how to relate that. But yeah, so I read that comment from Stan. Adam says, I'm just saying what I see to me for food for thought and discussion, not searching for clear yes or no till the story says LOL. Until then, just fun ideas, of course. Adam Stall says, but to me, as you said, it's implied to me with the Queen fight, he might be evolution science related. We saw King to me on the same side table that we saw Kuma, like an operating table for a cyborg. Where am I? Man, where was I just at? I just feel like okay. I like scroll down just a little bit and I lost my place. He also says, hint for one of my first vids, I'm hoping. Yeah, man. Hey, you come up with so many ideas, man. You gotta use these ideas. You can't just give away all your ideas on the chat, man. You gotta keep some of them secret, bro. You gotta keep some of these secrets, because there's probably people checking in on chat like, yo, I'm a steal all of Adam's stuff. Stan says, yeah, it could be that Judge tried to do that. Yeah, I guess Creed. Yeah, I remember there was a theory a while ago, like I want to say even before the vent smokes were introduced, that say like Sanji, like the theory was like whoever's Sanji's family was probably tried to turn him into a devil fruit or whatever, you know. So I heard of theories like that about, like, you know, maybe Sanji being genetically spliced in with like like his genetics being spliced in with devil fruits or something. Adam says, the first time in his flashback, I was just pointing that out about Sanji. That's all. So like the internet, LOL. I'm on the same page with just a little different view. I think Chakra is soul related. I just do not think outside of conquerors that specifically have to do with the soul. My bad is part of the ancient Egyptian fractional breakup of the soul. I think the spiral is the finger dipped in milk. The finger may be creator. The milk is the universe. Like the Milky Way, I guess. It may be a triple god type relation. Singularity, one soul, golden ratio. Man, you just throwing stuff.
Yeah.
He's just throwing stuff out there. I got some huge stuff to send you later. And those new bars break down to the distance between all the planets in our system. The ultimate magnet, the Sniper King, LOL. I don't know where you get this. That was just random as hell. I have a lot to say about Sanji, but that I am holding back for now. LOL. Like, what if Sanji was them trying to replicate how they originally created devil fruits? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, in so here's the interesting thing about chi. Chi is energy in constant motion, right? And this is a philosophy that they've been believing in so long,
Mm-hmm.
for thousand years. And then we look at science and what they're talking about with electromagnetism and atoms. And like, what are molecules? Well, they're this energy that's constantly moving.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of came to a very similar um, conclusion, which how that could reflect in One Piece is at one point they were able to, in a spiritual way, become enlightened and be these godhood type beings. And now they're trying to do it with science. It's like they're trying to rediscover what was already discovered, but
Yeah.
maybe that knowledge was lost in the Void Century.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would think the Void Century probably had like better technology than now, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, possibly. Like maybe Vinsmoke is like the only person that's really putting out better technology than they had in the Void Century. Like, I could see that being the case because they said he was years ahead of his time. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
Vegapunk. So, but yeah. So, what's your, I guess, theory on the origin of devil fruits? You know, let's get into that. What's the theory into the origin?
Um, Not exactly lore related, but more like functionality. I think it has to do with uh, coming to a point of enlightenment where you get a good enough understanding of all the Hakis. It does. You don't have to be the absolute master at every single one, but you have a good enough understanding of both all the colors of Haki and yourself that you blossom into this truest version of yourself that you can basically project and share with the world. So, like with Zoro, I think it's kind of obvious where that would end up. It would have to do with Ashura or Buddhism. Maybe Ashura could just be one form of that. Maybe he could have like a six paths. He can have six different forms.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool. So that's just like an example. Now let's use Zoro um, as the prime example for this. Uh, First of all, is my link working? Or would people be able to see?
For the, hold on, let me check on my phone. The one I posted.
Yeah,
All right, let me look.
check that for me.
Click. Yeah, it works.
Okay, so you can see that chart I have with the
The
color.
black body 100, mind 0,
Mm-hmm.
spirit 0.
Yep. So that
Hold
basically,
hold
sorry.
on. I got an
Yeah.
idea. But go ahead. You can continue. Continue what you're saying.
So what that is showing is each color of Haki. It basically has like a different makeup. So as you can imagine, the lowest vibration, the root, the earth-based one, is the most physical. So someone like Lucci or Virgo are the best at that. They're best at using that color of Haki.
Yeah.
How this could reflect in Devil Fruit is we look at Pika. Pika isn't even necessarily like a Virgo or a Lucci. We haven't seen enough of him, of course, but he doesn't seem that like super heartless, emotionless, cold-hearted robot of a person. Um, he Yet he uses a very similar thing of like focusing on that arm and hardening. He did the full body, and he coincidentally also has an earth-based devil fruit. So basically, in thinking of how devil fruits are made, you could imagine that some colors are more predominant in making a devil fruit than others. So Pika, for example, the red color of Haki matters probably the most.
Yeah.
And then there could be other colors that have like a secondary uh, relevance.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna type in the chat what I think Zoro looks like.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to put that I'm trying to put your chart on the screen so people can see what your chart says.
Mm-hmm.
So, my bad if I sound like I'm not paying attention or anything.
Oh, not at all.
I just
Like
want
I'm typing right now. I'm about to type something in the chat. So I think everybody in One Piece has a color of Haki, the color they resonate with. In fact, this is basically confirmed because in the SBS, someone asked Oda who in the Straw Hats can use Haki. At that time, it was like around Fishman Island. So there was only 3 people in the Straw Hat that could use Haki. It was Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji.
yeah.
And Oda took it upon himself to even go out of his way and say, and these are the Hakis that these characters specialize in. And he said, Sanji, observation, Zoro, armament, and Luffy is conquerors. He's saying, like, that's their special, that's what they're most in tune with.
Yeah.
So I think that is their color. So with Zoro, his color would be one of those 3 armament. And I think that the color he resonates most with is the Sakura, the water themed.
Zoro?
Yep. And I think that makes sense, one with him being his relationship with Wano. If you're someone at Wano, you're most likely gonna be 1 armament because Riel seems to be heavily involved.
Yeah.
And 2, you're gonna be someone who's good at the higher levels. And I think we find a lot of people that are either good, the breath of all things is an example. I think that is utilizing the sacral energy, the ability to flow the aura and have mastery over your own frequencies. That's why
you said the breath of all things, you think that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think because there's a relationship between water and frequencies. You ever notice, here's like an anime example, like Hunter x Hunter is a good example. When they're trying to determine your Nen type, you put your energy over water, because water is a great conduit for vibrations and ripples. I mean, our thought of ripples involves water. If you ever seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the first time we see Hamon use, the guy's literally standing in water, creating ripples.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why it's called Hamon. It literally means ripples. It's saying this energy we have creates ripples in ourselves like it would water.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is so great about Sacral. It's not just the fact that you can create a large invisible layer of armor on you. It's the fact that you can master the vibrations. You can master the water of yourself. The human body is made up of mostly water. That's the most thing that we're made of. So if you can master the vibration of waters, it's like you're mastering yourself. Yeah. And also sacral is the relationship. It's about the flow, being able to flow from yourself into your sword. So you can imagine why having the sacral is so good for a swordsman. And in Wano particular, we see a lot of fire-based people. So like Hyogoro and Firefox and even the animals. Oh, here's something for you, Adam, because I know you like the animals. If you notice in Wano, a lot of the animals seem to be like fire-themed. And just so happen you have a lot of fire-themed fighters in Wano as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of his name. He was like the headliner when after Luffy just got there.
Hold him,
yeah.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah,
He inexplicably could use fire. And you want to know what's interesting about him using fire? If you look at where that lion is, that is where the solar plexus would be on the body. Another name for solar plexus is the navel chakra. So is that a coincidence, or is Oda trying to tell us something?
Yeah, probably Oda trying the navel chakra is another name for it.
Yep. You know, Naruto, that's where his seal is, and whenever he enters his transformations, you can only see the circle on his navel.
Yeah,
when he's in tune with the sun. Even his chakra looks like fire. He's not even like a fire style user, but his chakra, it looks like fire. He has a very golden sun aura. In fact, most anime characters are in tune with the frequency of the solar plexus of the
Yeah.
golden fire. You look at Jonathan Joestar, Goku with his Super Saiyan, Naruto with it, Luffy the Sun God now.
Yeah.
I recently learned about Demon Slayer. You know, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if I'm looking into him soon, but that is about breaths and frequency and
It
stuff.
is. That's how they do their
Yeah,
abilities.
I did not know that.
About breathing and stuff.
I'm definitely gonna look into that someday.
I got the graph on the screen. I was able to finally get that up and running.
But yeah, it's the main characters often have that fire. You know, I was kind of spoiled, but not. I don't really care that much. I mean, the story looks good, but I'm not super invested. But I did get spoiled. Like, you eventually learn like his element is fire.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just like a common thing in shonen, because there's this concept called the mono myth, that all stories are really like trying to tell the same story, but just in different ways.
Pretty much. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. That falls under the concept of source too, like how everything really is converges, or the different paths to the same truth.
I kind of find it weird, like looking at this graph, right? Only black has 100% body, and then you got 0-0 in mind and spirit. But like, why don't like mind? Why isn't there like 100% with mind or 100% spirit? You know what I'm saying?
That is
like,
a very good question.
Like 100% mind and 0 for spirit, 0 for body, or 50 mind and 50 body. I don't know. You know?
So in Japanese, they have this word kokoro. Kokoro means
that
heart.
woman back in Yugoslavia.
Yeah, her. I'm sure her name is relevant to some degree, but it means heart, but it could also mean spirit, but it could also mean mind. That's because these three things are kind of like synonymous in a way. They're separate but almost the same at the same time.
Yeah.
Think of this. Remember when Law switched the minds of the Straw Hats on Punk Hazard?
Yeah, I remember.
But did he switch the minds? He switched the hearts. But it's basically like he switched their minds. See, that's what it is. It's like they're one and the same.
It's like the heart holds the spirit.
It's like the heart holds the spirit, but the spirit holds the heart. You know, it's almost like cycles into each other. That's why they're actually together. They're separate, but they're also together. They're more synonymous with one another, because the body is external. The body is a lot more simple, and it's just with itself. But the mind is a whole lot more complicated.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you notice, the body, the range goes from 100 to 0. But if you look at, that's the black and white. But if you look at the colors, it has the biggest range. It goes from 80 to 5. But if you look at the mind and spirit, it has a bigger range, because it's like the physical level of the body is just, on the earthly realm, is like spirit doesn't exist. That's just completely only seeing the world as it is, at face value. You just take it as it is. But once you start to become source, it's like your mind and your spirit are now front stage and center.
Yeah.
But those two things have to happen at the same time or together. They're not going to really happen separately. You're not, because if your spirit does something separately, but your mind isn't aware of it, it's really just happening subconsciously. So that's part of this whole idea of enlightenment. It's the fact that Luffy has always had Haki, but in order for him to use Haki, he has to become aware of it.
Yeah.
So that's why you need the mind and the spirit together.
It makes sense. Let me read the chat, because Stan says, "Yeah, I wish I could stay, but it's 3 a.m. I gotta fetch some sleep." Always nice talking to you. Shout out to Stan. He probably left before I could shout him out, because that was kind of a while ago when he said that. My bad, missed that on him. Yeah, I get it though, right? Like, because the mind and the spirit kind of works in conjunction with each other, right? Pretty much, where the body,
it's hard to tell them apart, really.
Yeah. Where, as
you know, a lot of people, when they're in love with the wrong person, they're like, you know, should I trust my mind or my heart? You know, it's like on one hand, you kind of think of them the same, but sometimes you think of them as separate.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really confuse your body as much with your mind and your spirit. Your body's a lot more distinct than your body,
Yeah.
your mind and your spirit.
Yeah. Even though the body follows the mind at the end of the day, but yeah. Adam says, okay, so absolutely with the colors and specialities, I think a main way to look at this is what characters are in need of certain types. And yes, the sound. Sound does not travel from water to air that well or at all, but can go great from air to water. And then he says, yeah, I think he did mention that in that discussion we had. He says, like, if you were screaming with your head underwater, and why this don't work down there, he says, devil fruits, roar again. Why Luffy in fire fits even better to me. All his paws, hands, tools are named animals for what he uses them for. No, I think Luffy is a orca. In part, but I don't want... I guess you say I don't think Luffy is an orca in part, but I don't want to sound too wild. All right, I guess he said he does think Luffy is an orca in part, but he don't want to sound too wild.
Yeah, we kind of talked about something similar last week. I used Avatar as an example when I was saying how like the benders learned their bending from animals. Maybe in the world of One Piece, a lot of humans have learned from their nature, learned from the literal nature, like their environment, but also maybe they've even learned from animals as well to help them develop their own haki.
And it's wild because we talk about how you can, I guess, I'm trying to think. I was trying to think what we said about, like, because he's talking about water, right? And how water can suppress sound from getting out. And when you look at, you speaking of Avatar, right? How do you take someone's bending away? Like, you remember? He kind of walked away. I'll finish your chat. Adam says the ultimate core solar plexus, dude. It's the exact same coding in Berserk. I haven't actually watched Berserk, so I can't talk about Berserk. So
I haven't caught up on Berserk either.
So you mean it's the chakra of paper, the monolith. So now what I was saying is, like, there's I guess in Avatar there's two ways to take someone's bending. One is if you know, like, if you're the Avatar, of course, you can just cut people's connection off the bending. And then the other that we've seen was you gotta pretty much know blood bending, which is a advanced form of water bending. Yeah. And it's kind of odd where you could cut people off from their abilities with by using water in Avatar, but then in One Piece, water is what can nullify their use to using their abilities as well.
Okay, here let me. What is another word for chi?
Ki, or
in English. Do you remember what chi is in English?
Flow.
It's actually breath.
Oh, breath. Okay, breath.
Chi means breath.
And
what can't you do underwater?
Breathe.
And what can't devil fruits do underwater?
Swim.
They can't even use their abilities.
So is that more of a thing where the devil fruit is drowning, possibly?
Maybe.
Now thinking about it, like, why are devil fruit used? Like they said, it's a curse, devil. But scientifically, again, like we talk about breath, like chi is breathing and everything. If the devil fruit has a will of its own, and it's almost a sentient thing to a degree, you could say, especially zone devil fruits. I don't know about all the devil fruits, but I would assume all if it acts the same way. If they almost act sentient, maybe they stop working underwater because they can't breathe. Like anybody else, right? If you're underwater, you can't breathe. and you can only stay down there unless you get gills or something. You can only stay down there a certain length of time. Adam says, so you mean it's the chakra of paper, the monolith, or the spine? I'm here all week, triple God. Where he talking? Adam says, equal parts of a whole that combine to a new form, meaning the negative part of a magnet. We've seen that before, LOL. We got to talk on Discord because I have a lot on this stuff that I don't totally want on YouTube yet. Salt, magnesium, sulfur. Man, I don't be knowing where you at sometimes, Adam. You just be all over the place, bro. We go from magnets to salt, magnesium, sulfur. I was joking about the spine and chakra being very similar to the spine of a book.
Yeah, I see where he's going with that.
And what does sound need to travel through to be heard? It has to travel through matter or air. Mm-hmm. That's why space don't work.
Mm-hmm. So I said earlier, I think Congress Haki is the rawest form of Haki itself. It gets really deep, and we're going to see it in Understanding Haki Part 3. But one of the elements of Congress Haki, of throat chakra, which I speculate to correlate to Congress Haki, is sound. Now, we already talked about sound. That was the whole video, the whole voice and everything. There's another element, too, is lightning. Again, we talked about how lightning can fit in. But there's another one. For some reason, throat chakra has the most elements out of all, or something. Like, there's not a consensus or something. I don't know. But there's a lot of interpretation. But that's the crazy thing. There's different interpretations, yet every single one of them works. Yeah. Which is the craziest thing. Yeah. The sound works, the lightning works, and the third one is ether. And ether, in a simple way, just means the sky. But what ether really means is the breath of the gods. It's a breath of a higher realm.
Yeah.
It's the sky. It's the heavens. And Conqueror's Haki is said to be chosen by the heavens, or it's often shown to split the heavens. Conqueror's Haki is shown to have something to do with the heavens.
Dang, I ain't never thought of that one.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense though.
And ether can be seen as the sky. It could also be seen as beyond the sky, which would be space.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole lot to it.
Yeah. Adam says, without the vibrations made by two somethings, no sound can be made. All sound is that, and conversely, all sound needs to travel through air to be sound. So matter would work. Then it needs specifically air to make the vibrations hearable. If it was just matter, then space would work. Look into soapstone for ether neater. I have a lot on that. But yeah. So all right, I caught up on the chat.
Now I'll just set up what we could talk about next week. So I was talking about Zoro and how I think his color is
green.
Is orange, the sacral chakra. Yeah. That's what Sandra would say. I think it has to do with it's armament first of all, but then there's 3 colors of armament in my theory.
Can I interrupt you before you go too deep? Because I just had something I just want to say. It's a little off topic, but it's just kind of funny. It's just something I thought of that was funny, and then I'll let you go. It's funny how Sanji calls Zoro Moss Head, right? Mm-hmm. But when you look at moss, right, when moss grows on the tree, it usually points north. I think that's how it works. It usually points north. That they tell you if you get lost in the woods or something, you follow like the moss on the trees tell you which way is north. I don't understand the science behind it. I don't know how accurate it is. I just remember picking that up when I was younger, right? But it's like Zoro he has no sense of direction to be called Moss Head.
So he's in tune with the frequency of Moss, and that's actually what messes him up because he's always going north no matter which way he
Yeah,
goes.
true. Maybe his
There's the
north
thing.
is towards danger.
Oh yeah.
But go ahead, my
Um,
bad.
no problem. We have orange, which is the Rio, basically. Just think of it like exactly how Koshiro described Rio, or how Kyogoro described Rio.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I
So
think his primary color is. But then he has two secondaries that I believe he has. It's the green, which is the heart, and that's observation on its first level. You know, being able to sense things around you, that it makes your reflexes better, it makes your physical senses better, you can have longer sight. And it has the physical application, but also the spiritual. You can literally feel the emotions of people around you. You can see Usopp could even like see spirits and stuff like that. Um, so there's that. And that's important for Zoro because if you notice the breadth of all things, that moment against Dasbone, it showed both armament and observation because he was able to just know things. He could sense things around, right? So that's why he's so in tune. I believe he's so in tune with the heart chakra. Why I think those are the most important. I think that moment against Dasbone really is super crucial and important for where Zoro's character would go from that point forward.
mm-hmm.
And then we know he has Conqueror's Haki. But I think that there's another, his other color is also observation. It's the third eye. Now, this whole road to enlightenment means you got to have some kind of mastery over all the chakras, right? So, me saying his colors and none of them being conquerors doesn't mean he's not going to use conquerors. It doesn't mean he wouldn't be good at using conquerors. It still matters because he needs to become an enlightened, awakened being. But I think the reason the third eye chakra matters so much is because the third eye isn't just what you see on the outside, it's what you see on the inside.
Okay.
And and I think, future sight falls under third eye chakra. But I think there's a whole spectrum of things that fall under third eye chakra. So future sight would be one. What else? The voice of all things would be another one.
Mm-hmm. The breath
I think reading minds could be another one.
or whatever
So
Usopp
the breath of
does,
all things.
whatever
The breath
Usopp's
of all
doing.
things would be another one. Yeah. And I think the lowest spectrum or the deepest frequency is within your own self.
Okay.
And third eye chakra has the element of light. So it means that you can have great vision. And then where Conquerors comes in, it's not secondary, but it's still relevant, is the fact that Conquerors is about soul manipulation and soul projection.
Mm.
So that's why that's that third layer of where it does still matter. If you combine the fact that he's so in tune with his own heart, he can see things very clearly. He can craft this power for himself, this ashura, these things that it's not just him who could see it; it's other people can see it. And vision is based off light. So the fact that other people can see Zoro's ashura means it's not just mental; he's literally projecting it out into the real world,
Yeah.
which is why I think it's a conqueror's ability. I think that's why Kaido, because some people think it was just Ashura in itself is just a attack, and then Zoro unlock conquerors. And yet, no, I think Oda is trying to portray that Ashura is a conqueror's ability,
Yeah.
and I think that whole projecting your soul out is a part of the conquerors. That's what soul. I mean, that's what Brook does with his ability.
Yeah.
Is he's soul projecting? That's what Big Mom does with their ability, soul projection. That's what I believe conquerors Haki to be. But the whole point was I use Zoro as in his Ashura and what he does to show how getting in tune with different chakras could present a ability. So what I want is maybe anybody in the chat wants to get involved in this is try to come up with a devil fruit ability using these what you understand from these chakras,
Yeah.
and then like go into and explain why it is this devil fruit power you made up works the way it was. So not just make up any random thing, but actually put some thought into, okay, it uses some of the third eye, or uses some fire from the solar plexus, or uses some of this or that. just see what you can come up with.
Yeah, you got a question in the chat. I got a question for you in the chat. Adam says, would you say that Zoro's ultimate chakra element is wood, like in the Chinese elements? Iconic for the man who wants to cut all.
So I purposefully only looked at it from the Hindu perspective, just because one, it's color coded, and we're dealing with the colors of Haki. And two, it just makes it simpler to get the theory across. So I really haven't looked too much into the Chinese version of it with Taoism and I think they're called meridians, their energy centers. So I haven't looked too much into it. I've looked into a little bit because I start the theory off talking about chi, but I haven't looked really in depth. So I couldn't really say from that perspective. However, if you were to look at, remember the Rokushiki is Haki theory, I really didn't talk a lot about chakras. I talked more about from the chi perspective. I was talking about earthly chi and all that stuff. So it is possible to look at it from a different perspective than Hinduism and chakras. And if you want to, if you want to take that on, hey, you got free reign. I don't see anybody else trying to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah. He says, absolutely a spectrum like a rainbow, a prism created by light interacting with matter. Bingo. I think those layers are like the Super Saiyan levels, and I think that Zoro may actually be a devil fruit, and it needed to be activated like Brook, Zoro, the Ajra, god of death. And Adam says, but since he's the Grim Reaper, his tree has a iron scythe for leaves. And most of the stuff I am using, mainly volume 1 to 32, but mostly 1 to 23. The colors are an aspect of a lot of cultures. I wonder if it's about infrared layers of experience. So yeah, I don't. But yeah, man. So you got any more thoughts?
No, just that. Whatever. I would love to hear somebody come up with a devil fruit power based off of this whole chakra system.
Like a new devil fruit power, or one that exists already?
Either or. If someone wants to go, here's why I think this currently existing devil fruit power exists using chakra. That's a cool topic.
What about light? What about light? How will we do? Let's do one right now. What about light? The glint devil fruit, or nah. I got a devil fruit.
Yeah,
I got one. The Doro no Mi, which is Foxy's devil fruit. That one that slows time. What would that be? Because I would think that wouldn't really be much of a. I mean, see, I don't know.
Look into it.
I don't know what I would classify that as. Going off of, let me look at the spectrum that you created. It slows things down, right? So it has an external. It's external in nature. I would think it could possibly be something to do with conquerors, possibly.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
Because you're you're like imposing your will to slow time down. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I don't know. I couldn't say. I would say maybe light. I think light would be yellow though, because yellow is I'm trying to think where the yellow falls under not the solar plexus, not the heart, the sacral, not the sacral.
For which one?
For light. I'm looking at light, yellow.
Light. So light would definitely be you could put the solar, because that has to do with the sun. Sun is light, right? Then you have the third eye chakra, which literally has the element of light.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have put that on my, I just made that chart yesterday. I made those pie graphs yesterday, and I just wrote some descriptions today. I'm writing this so
Let me ask though.
anybody can click this link. This link, we can post it to the Discord and stuff. I'll be updating it as the week goes on. But yeah, for light, it's definitely third eye for sure. I think solar plexus for sure. And then if I could think of one more, I try to think of three. Really all seven are supposed to play a role in one way or another, but it's easier to just think of three main ones. So,
but when I think of light, I think of light because we know there's a spectrum of light, right? Like light itself is a spectrum. So could it not be all of them except maybe black? Because when you look at black, black is kind of it's like the anti-color, I guess. I feel.
Yeah. So white and black are, I can't get into it too much. It's a little complicated, but basically black is like the lowest it gets. So it's like the it's just physically
normal
Earth. It's
like
an Earth without it's not even it's Haki. It's not even Haki, really. Black is almost not Haki. It's like the hot without the key. I mean, without even anything.
It's just
the
physical.
Black is literally.
It's physical.
Black is like an earth without any faith. It's an earth without any God. It's an earth without any concept of spirituality. It's an earth that is just based in earthly. It's an earth without any heaven or anything. It's just the earth itself. It's basically, imagine a world where there was no religion. We just walked around and just did whatever without really any sense of purpose or anything. That's what black really represents. It's just purely physical. There's no power in that. So it's not even like Rokushiki, or it's just purely just there is nothing. Because even Rokushiki, it uses chi. It's just earthly chi. Rokushiki is supernatural. That is basically like there would be no story if it was just black. But that's what that represents. Think of Blackbeard and his powers. His powers is to get rid of powers.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of going towards, right? Like I was about to say, because I feel as though the Yami Yami no Mi and the Glink Glink, the Pika Pika no Mi, I guess. I feel as though like those two devil fruits are like the light is kind of the embodiment of the color spectrum, right? Because you need, because how color works, it works with light, right? It's like it's the light bouncing off of an item and going into your eye and then creates color, whatever, Black is like the absence of light, darkness is the absence of light. So it's almost like they work against each other, right? It's like they work against each other, but they work. They work with each other, but against each other. It's kind of like that yin and the yang, almost.
I don't think the light fruit is as deep as the dark fruit. Because here's the thing we're talking about Kizaru's fruit. Kizaru's fruit is light in a physical sense.
Like
yes, it's light, but it's literally light. Like it's kind of like the thing I was trying to talk to you about, the throat chakra, where it's like there's the physical throat, and then there is
the spiritual,
the spiritual throat.
Inner throat.
It's like so there's the spiritual concept, and then there's the literal concept. There's the earthly realm, and then there's Earth itself. So the earthly realm actually means like everything on our physical planet. So Mars is considered part of the earthly realm. The sun is considered part of the earthly realm because it's not about the earth itself. It's just a word that represents the concept that it's a physical world where it's touch and feel. And then there's the actual earth. So when I think of darkness, there's a concept of darkness like literally just being dark. But then there's a spiritual concept of darkness.
Yeah.
In a conjunction with dark. I don't think Blackbeard can take devil fruit power away because of the literal version of darkness. I think it has to also incorporate the spiritual concept of darkness.
Yeah.
On the flip side, Kizaru's concept of light really seems a lot more conceptual in the physical realm, the physical reality, even to the earthly realm to a degree. So that's why I would say, if you're saying that light fruit is all of them, I mean, technically, I think that's true of all devil fruits, but I
Yeah.
do think there is a more strongly physical component. That's why the solar plexus would fall under it. And I do think the third eye, because it's obviously light and it's
Man,
about projection.
I think if Oda really wanted to go in with the Kizaru's Devil Fruit, I think it would really be a ridiculous power, right? Like, let's say if Kizaru actually had
Mm-hmm.
full control of the color spectrum, right, where he could actually make
Yeah.
you see, like, he could take away colors from someone, because I mean that's
Mm-hmm.
literally, if you had the power of light, you could literally take colors away from people, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that would probably work different. Like, if it was more of a Promethea, I think it would be different. Because Logia is more of a, like, it's a UR fire type thing. Like, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Ace could. Well, I think he could. Like, if he could create a fireball without it coming from the fire, like his fire. Like if he could just create fire from nothing, or does the fire that he create come from his body, right? Because I think that's how Logia is. Or I don't think they can. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, can they actually manufacture their element outside of their body, like without touching? You know what I'm saying? Like without touching it.
Yeah, I think that has to do with that's working towards awakening. But what we saw Enel do on Skypiea was pretty miraculous. The way he could just control the entire domain with his devil fruit. It's not like he was going to people and punching them with light. He was like sending lightning down and all that stuff. But then you look at Enel, and he claims himself to be God, and he lives in a society that is pretty knowledgeable on Haki, and you could imagine that they are very spiritual. In fact, they use primarily observation, which is a higher frequency ability.
Mm.
So the fact that he could use his devil fruit in that manner, I think correlates to, it's like the thing about their personality and their environment. I think if you gave someone like, I don't know, Burgess Anel's devil fruit, he wouldn't be doing the same thing Anel's doing. He
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be able to utilize it. I think there is like maybe even like what Adam keeps bringing up, the gravity. There could be like a gravity to devil fruits that sort of like attracts people to eat the devil fruits, that sets people on a path to some way, in one way or another, acquire these devil fruits.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me read these chats. Adam says the colors are an aspect of a lot of cultures. I wonder if it's like infrared. I think I read that. He says that I think it's like gravity, like the planet in Interstellar. But also counting time is a human invention. Spectrums of vision, sound, mind. I think that it's when it's all one, when everything is combined in one, then there doesn't exist anything to experience, see, feel. It's like Oda always says, you can't see your own face. You need someone else to tell you or see a reflection of yourself, but you can't use your own eye. Well, I can. I could take my eyes out and look at myself, but that's just me. No, I'm playing. But he says, like the layers in Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm serious. But the pun was on purpose. I'm here all week. I think he can use it at the very least to sense everything the light touches and plan accordingly. With the light, I think Promethea is when we get to entire mind concepts. The third world of existence, the current age fruits. Gravity is a very loaded word. I mean heavy. So yeah. So you got anything else?
I would say, if you're trying to think of how devil fruits would be made from Haki, you do got to think of it in a mind, body, spirit type of way. Like if it's a zone devil fruit, you're gonna imagine it's probably gonna have more of the lower frequency chakras, because zones are very physical in
Yeah.
nature. You can
Yeah, that's true.
imagine there are exceptions to that though. If they're mythical,
Even Chopper's devil fruit may not be mythical, but I can imagine that it probably uses some higher frequency. It's probably very balanced. It might look something like Zoro's makeup, where it's the um, sacral, then what's it called? Heart, and then third eye. So yeah, think of like the mind body. Try to think of how physical the devil fruit would be, whether you're trying to figure out what a devil fruit would be made of, or if you're trying to make one up yourself. Also, think about how it matches their personality. If you're trying to come up with a character, you would want to have a devil fruit. Um, for example, if you look at the numbers on the number values used for the colors, if you notice red, yellow, and blue, the numbers are more simple. It's just 80, 10, 10, 40, 30, 30, 20, 40, 40. But then if you look at orange, green, and indigo, then it becomes more complicated. First, it starts with 55, 20, 25. Then you have 33.3, 33.3, and then 33.4. I give the spirit an edge for the heart chakra on purpose. And then the indigos 7.5, 52.5. That's intentional too, making them numbers more complicated.
Yeah.
It reflects a more simple-minded person. I think Luffy is a red, yellow, blue type of guy, or simple, and then Zoro's a more orange, green, indigo type of guy.
Sanji would probably be a complicated one because he's a little.
I think Sanji is yellow, green, blue. He's close to the heart. He's very a very emotional, passionate guy, right? So his color's primarily green, and his secondary colors are the two colors most closest to green.
Yeah.
Because I think he's someone that identifies a lot with that specific chakra. I think you can find characters that identify with specific chakras. Like, you could imagine, like, the fishermen as a whole, they identify most with the sacral. So they might have you can find a lot of fishermen that are, orange, have an orange heart. That's what I say for the type of person they are. They would have a certain kind of heart. That's why I use hearts in the chat. It's not just to get the colors across. I actually mean like these are their heart color.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the third eye tri, right? They're really involved with the root. No, obviously the third eye. It only makes sense.
Yeah. Adam says, I am, and that's what I keep trying to say with these triple god ideas. My bad. It's about combination or the nature of combustion. I'm trying to include the whole planet and the rest of the universe. I actually write my own manga, so I have been studying Oda for like 17 years. Trust,
awesome,
right? So trust me, I have put a lot of idea to the text, and I agree. I'm only saying that I think that the idea that Haki is all, I think is off. Even Rayleigh said, I think Haki is the base form of the triple god combination of all layers of the known and unknown universe. Unless Oda isn't putting too much thought into it, LOL, just kidding. I really think he does. I am 30, though I wish I tried writing sooner.
You don't got to worry about that. Writing's a sport that you don't have to worry about your age. Look at Stan Lee, one of the most glorified writer in pop culture. And it took him a while to get to that point. And it's like when he really got to really embrace all that fame, he was already old.
Yeah.
But imagine his life if he just thought, well, I'm old, so I'm not going to really go anywhere with this. It's like, no, he got to enjoy his life.
Yeah.
And everything. He didn't let his age stop him. And, he became the writer we all love.
Exactly. So stick with it. But yeah, man, you got anything else to add on the topic of today?
No, not really. I think I'm gonna come up with like 3 devil fruits based off of, which makes sense. I'll come up with 1 zone, 1 Logia, 1 Paramis here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm as good at seeing connections as you, so I'll try though. I'll try. But yeah, Adam says I absolutely agree. LOL, my egg hatched late, but I'm okay. Or I'm like Usopp. LOL. Yeah. So if that's all you got, then we will be doing this again next week, hopefully, or because I know we got Understanding Haki 3, which that one we might break down to 2 parts. We might break down to 2 days. So yeah, hopefully we'll do this again next week if we can, if ELiDZ can find 2 days to do this, and then we got this. But yeah, y'all.
I have a video ready for next week. A short video, just talk more about this whole hockey thing. We could even talk about the chapter that's gonna come out. I'll have some time. I just gotta I leave to go to Canada on Wednesday, so Tuesday I just have to spend some time to pack up and get ready. But I'll still have enough time to do the stream.
All right. Well, shout out to ELiDZ. Y'all, you guys, his channel, the link to his channel is in the description. That's where you can pretty much find the video we reacted to today. So make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel. Also like the stream, and also go like his videos as well, the video that we reacted to today. But make sure you also subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to ELiDZ channel. He makes great content. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Also follow me, we have the One Piece Discord and the One Piece Facebook group. If you guys are looking for One Piece, a One Piece community. Adam says, great stream, guys. I gotta talk with you guys on Discord when you have some time. I probably won't be talking Discord tonight. I got a couple things to do. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow though, Adam, because I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow, guys. So, but I probably will be in the Discord tomorrow to chat things up. Maybe we could do like some voice chat. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to promise y'all. Maybe I'll be down for some voice chat tomorrow. Fun discussion as always. I will be looking forward to next week. If it's on Tuesday, I can try to make sure I get off early. Hey, if you can, if not, then you can always catch the playback. But yeah, y'all, you got anything else you want to plug anything? I'll let you plug.
That's it. Stay tuned. I recorded a video, probably maybe 4 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Just talking about my thoughts on Gear 5th, because I made my Gear 5th theory, so I might as well give my thoughts on how it all turned out to be and where I think Gear 5th could be going. But that's it. So stay tuned for that.
You don't want to plug your social media or anything? I know you at least your Twitter or something.
I'm good.
All right, y'all go follow him anyway. He does got Twitter. Just look up ELiDZ.
Yeah, my links are on my YouTube channel. You just go to my about section.
Yeah, and go to his YouTube. We got the link to his YouTube is in the description, so y'all go check him out. Anyway, y'all, we've been at it for 3 hours. It ain't bad though, cause Sunday it was 5 hours, man. That was 5-hour stream.
Yeah.
So
it's a fun discussion.
This stream was better for me than yesterday because I was fasting and I ate today, so I'm good. I'm good. But y'all, anyway, I won't be streaming tomorrow. I will be back Thursday. And yeah, Thursday and Friday we'll be back. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and y'all have a good night. I'm out of here.